All right, guys, what is going on once again for the third night in a row? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you, and we are live for once again another one of my WWE Top 10 Best of the Best of 2018 series. As of course, I said, I had several of these I wanted to do so since, haven't had much to do the past couple nights. Well, besides work, I thought I'd keep up to date on these because after this one, I will have 3 of these left. I will be doing a top 10. I'll be doing my course. Actually, technically 4 of these special streams left. First one will be my top 10 superstars of the year, which is going to list a stream of both male and female. Not going to do worse for that one. I'm just going to do just the best for male and female. Of course, my top 10 favorite things, and probably I'll do a least favorite things also of 2018. Also, that one. My bold predictions, which is not going to be a top 10, it's going to be a flat out bold predictions, talking about a lot of different things I'm going to be predicting for 2019. And of course, the last video, of course, again, a little special stream of the year, of course, will be my end of the year, Q&A / 1,000 subscribers celebration / just recap video of this channel from the entire year as well, which will probably take place on New Year's Eve. I will probably maybe either tomorrow or Monday before I go out to be with my family on Christmas Eve. I will probably put out the forum to start leaving your Q&A questions, which again I'll get to that later on. But of course, this stream is one I wanted more time for. Now I wanted to start this stream earlier, but I got distracted due to other things. But the good news is I didn't say good news, but my sister's not home tonight. She's spending the night at her boyfriend's family's house right now. So I don't have to worry about being too loud or anything tonight because he literally hear everything I say sometimes. So I can not have to worry about that. I can be more animated, and this is a stream I felt we're going to be getting a lot out because like the first of these best of 2018 streams, not just one. We're not going to do just 2, but we're going to do 3 top 10 lists in this stream tonight. We're going to do top 10 male matches, top 10 female matches, and the top 10 worst matches. That's going to be combined of male and female matches. I didn't want to do top 10 worst male, top 10 worst female because we'd be here all night. And also, doesn't feel like I don't want anyone to go too crazy of rants also. But so this one is going to definitely be a good amount of time. It might be a 2-hour stream. I'm going to say we might have here, but cool with me because I got all night. But of course, we're going to get into this, and we're going to probably start off with I'll do the top 10 male first, top 10 female, and we'll finish off with the worst. This one, we will do it that way. But first, of course, let's check the live chat or the chat of live and see who we got here in the live chat. We have just one person so far. It is no other than Robbie One Kenobi. What is up, my good friend Robbie? And he says, Johnny Takeover. That is for sure because now Johnny Gargano is not Johnny Wrestling, but he is Johnny Takeover. And I do, of course, look forward to seeing what is next for Johnny Gargano himself. Did he completely align himself with DIY? Are him and Tommaso Ciampa back on the same page after what happened in the steel cage match? Is Johnny having any doubts about this? We will see go forward what it is. But of course, we will definitely be talking about Johnny Gargano on these top 10 lists for sure when we get to it. And also, of course, Johnny Badass, as Tommaso Ciampa is called. Now, here's the thing. Both of these lists, I try my best to avoid, having multiple matches from a feud. Actually, I want to check one thing really fast. I just thought of something. I just want to make a quick change here really quick to one of the matches. I want to remove this one, replace it with another one. 1 second. One second, guys. This is me changing the script of Nova Broadcast, just like WWE does. But, no harm done. Okay, we're good. I saw one thing. I just want to make a change. Now, again, I tried my best to, take all matches, from a from a feud. Like, I didn't put like all three of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's matches on this list, although they were all very good classics. I didn't want to keep repeating myself in the same feud. There was a little bit of an exception though for the women though, because I couldn't really think of another women's match, so I actually did use a couple matches. 2 matches from a specific women's feud. Of course, we will get to later on. I mean, one of them, involves one extra person, but another one, is pretty much the same 2 people, but just, different stipulation, pretty much. Let's see here. Robbie also asks, do you think the TakeOver Phoenix main event may now become the triple threat we were supposed to get at Brooklyn 4? I mean, my thing is, I think it is possible that it could be a triple threat. However, though, my thing is, they may keep it just one-on-one because it might be Johnny Gargano's way of trying to get, more, it may be the way of Johnny Gargano more so getting into Tommaso Ciampa's head, thinking that he could trust him and whatnot. So I could still see this being just a one-on-one match because of that. But if Johnny Gargano is, showing more doubts and whatnot, and he still wants to get to Tommaso Ciampa, then that could be the case. But then again, he still, could help. I mean, again, he could want to be there because, but then again, to me, it'd be a little too obvious that, Johnny must be the hero of the story. That's why he would help Tommaso Ciampa. So I'm not sure. We could get a triple threat match. We may not. I say that at some point it should happen, though, at some point. So I'd say maybe we've already seen Black and Ciampa one-on-one, but yeah, it's tough. I'm not too sure which one to go with. I have to think about that because I still have to do my TakeOver Phoenix match card, which is next. You guys did also see I did upload my UK TakeOver Blackpool card yesterday. Let's see here. Form a line. I'll slap the head off every single one of you dopes. Hashtag Becky Lynch. Hashtag burn. That's another great line by her that she had for sure. From the crap. What was I saying now? From recently as well. It says there's 4 people watching, but I only have 1 person chat me in the live chat. If you're in the live chat, hello, say hello at least to me that I know that you exist. But if not, then that's okay. But let's, of course, get started with the list. I will do the top 10 male matches first, then the top 10 female matches, and then the top 10 worst matches of 2018. So, guys, fasten your seatbelts, grab your bowl of popcorn. Well, mine is empty now. And just get ready as we are going to go on a journey back in time through 2018 once again, as we now talk about my list for my top 10 best male matches of all time. Well, not of all time, of 2018. So let's start off now with number 10 on this list. Now, actually, also before I get to this list, of course, is going to have a lot of matches from NXT. There were several that I did not include on this list because I didn't want to fully load with just NXT matches. But there's actually, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 4 matches on this list were from NXT. There's a couple more that I wanted to put on this list, such as one that I really felt could have been on this list is Adam Cole and Ricochet. That is probably would have been my number 11 for this list, but that match, of course, was awesome with the fact that it was Ricochet, really, in his element. I still will not forget that one. My favorite part of the match that was still just an unreal spot again was when Ricochet tried to do that moonsault, and Adam Cole kicked him in the head while he was in midair, like hanging upside down in midair. That was an awesome spot there. But that's definitely a great honorable mention for this list. Again, there's so many others I probably could have put on this list, but I didn't quite make this list. I want to include some other matches come from the main roster, which, be honest, for this men's list, not too many of these matches on the main roster were actually on pay-per-view. Actually, let me see here. Only one match that I have listed here from the main roster was on pay-per-view, and that's quite sad. But let's, of course, get into this. Despite the fact that this one did not end with a clean decision, I believe it ended in a disqualification, I believe it did. I still thought, in my opinion, this match, the way it was booked, the time it was given, had potential to kind of be a WrestleMania match. And that's why my number 10 is Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, the Intercontinental Championship rematch on the June 25th, 2018 episode of Raw. This was the main event of Raw, of course. And thing was 2 weeks after Seth Rollins pulled off the shocker and Ziggler pulled off the shocker and beat Seth Rollins, despite the fact that he grabbed the tights with a roll-up victory on Rollins in an IC title open challenge. The first Raw after Money in the Bank 2018, when Seth Rollins beat Elias at that pay-per-view. And a decent match that one was. But this match, boy, I always wanted to see these two have a pay-per-view match, which we got them on pay-per-view, we got them on Raw. How many times part of live events? Like, they had like 15 matches throughout this year, so they did kind of overdo that. I wouldn't say all the matches really quite lived up to hype, though. I mean, these two have great chemistry, but I know they definitely put on good pay-per-view worthy matches. I mean, like, for example, the match at Extreme Rules, the Iron Man match, wasn't bad, but of course, with how bad us Pittsburgh people were being that night, counting down the minute every single minute for 30 straight minutes just drove me nuts. That took me out of the match. But I gotta say, either their SummerSlam match or this match from the June 25th, 2018 episode of Raw, I gotta say was their best match. This one, they must have given them about 30 minutes, like 25, 30 minutes in the ring. The near falls were crazy. There was a bunch of crazy spots there as well. Just two guys who, one is, been utilized better this year. The other one who's been extremely underutilized his whole career, Dolph Ziggler, shown that, these two can put on a strong main event, which, they tried to show at Extreme Rules when they gave them a chance being the main event of Extreme Rules with that Iron Man match. But once again, because the crowd took over, it kind of took you away and hurt the match a little bit. But this match was awesome. Of course, the involvement from Drew McIntyre, at the end, was what costed the match and not ending a clean finish. Afterwards, though, Roman Reigns came out, though, and saved Seth Rollins, which, again, is just kind of their attempt, again, to try to, nerf a reaction from someone else onto Roman. But I still can't take away that I thought this match was spectacular. Even though it didn't have a clean finish, this match felt like it could have been a WrestleMania-worthy match, the way it was booked and everything. The strong near falls was like two of the best in the business, even though one's underutilized big time. Just really shining, I felt. And that's why, of course, I had to give this match credit, being my number 10 on my top 10 best male match or men's, whatever we call it, top 10 men's matches of 2018 in WWE. And that one, of course, is my number 10. Number 9, speaking of Intercontinental Championships, actually, I have 3 Intercontinental Championship matches on this list. As my number 9, we go back to the dead beginning of this year. January 1st, 2018, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe in an Intercontinental Championship match. And if Roman Reigns got disqualified, he loses the belt, which I'm trying to remember exactly because it's been a while, what exactly happened that led to them adding this stipulation to the match. I don't know if it's because, Roman Reigns, got angry with, once again, Joe just attacking Roman with, of course, he had attacked Seth Rollins. He even went after, of course, Dean Ambrose, which that's what helped them, write Dean Ambrose off the show with his injury and whatnot. Of course, Roman was out there fighting for his brothers and whatnot. So they had a great, simple storyline, going forward. With this feud that led to this match, since Roman Reigns was Intercontinental Champion for us 6 weeks, basically just keep the title warm until the Miz came back from filming his movies or when it was the time. But again, I still give credit that I did feel that Roman Reigns put on some really good matches with the Intercontinental Championship. That is for sure. Of course, afterwards, his booking went downhill, but I'm good now. But this match, with the exception of one match, and trust me, we will talk about that one match. Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe have great chemistry together, and they can put on great matches given the time, tell a great story, and two guys who are bigger, brutal, but are quick and agile and whatnot. Again, I always put over to Samoa Joe's Insiguri in blue jeans when he made his main roster debut attacking Seth Rollins the night after the Royal Rumble in 2017. But this was a really strong match. Now, it would have been nice to have seen Samoa Joe, beat Roman for the match. But, of course, Joe at times tried taking advantage of the stipulation where if you get disqualified, then you lose the match, trying to, just piss off Roman Reigns. But I felt that it was just great back and forth action, again, between these two. They work very well together. Well, the exception of one time, but we'll get to that in a little later on in this stream. I clearly just felt that they just nailed it on the button. It was a great Intercontinental title match for Raw. Of course, Roman would drop the title back to The Miz when The Miz came back, and two really good matches, I gotta say, between them as well. But I just remember really enjoying this match. I thought that, hey, this definitely be a match of the year candidate, 14 years of the year, and I felt that it most definitely deserved to be. It would have been nice to have seen Joe win to get a title, but did not happen. But still, fair game to me. Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe for the Intercontinental Championship. Roman can lose the belt through disqualification on January 1st, 2018 is my number 9. My number 8. This is probably either this or another match, which I'll mention as an honorable mention also for my best match of the year also later. But this match to me is probably going to be my best tag team match of the year. An honorable mention, of course, is the Raw tag title match at Hell in a Cell between Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Ziggler and McIntyre. That was an awesome 20-minute match there. But my best match of the year, I still got to say, told a great story, had great wrestling in it and everything, was Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain for the NXT Tag Team Championships on the date was, I believe, July 11th, 2018 edition of NXT. So the Mustache Mountain had won the tag titles with the Undisputed Era a few weeks earlier in a match at Royal Albert Hall during the UK Championship Tournament. They got their rematch on the NXT. Well, of course, during that match was when they were going on the storyline. Even they probably did hurt it for real. He's continuing to sell big time. Trent Seven suffered a knee injury, and obviously there was times during the match where you didn't know if he was going to be able to continue or not. I believe he did tag out of the match for a little bit, and he was just being nursed on the side, but he still kept fighting to get back in the match. On top of Tyler Bate, who again, as I've always put over for being able to wrestle any type of wrestling, mat wrestling, grappling, technical wrestling, high flyer, big man, just anything Tyler Bate has always been able to adapt to. And there, but then of course the biggest story of this match was Trent Seven just showing heart, trying to get into the match to prove something, that he can be a badass even on one leg. And even though they lost the match, I think that's exactly what he did. Getting back into the match, of course, the Undisputed Era, being smart, was targeting the bad leg of Trent Seven, and there was some long, submissions being put onto Seven as well, obviously putting that knee in so much pain. And then, of course, but Trent Seven just refused to quit. He refused to tap out, and Tyler Bate was on the side, just fearing for his friend, trying to get him to tag himself in. But of course, there was a couple times where, Tyler's like, hey, I can take care of this. But Trent Seven was like, no, I got this. I can do this. Just showing how much heart he had. I mean, I'll go as far as saying this. Of course, he didn't tap out. They lost the match because Tyler Bate threw in the towel to save his friend from being even more injured. But it reminded me of the finish to the Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 21 match, where Kurt Angle literally had Shawn Michaels in the ankle lock for a good 7 minutes before Michaels finally tapped, really working to get Michaels to pretty much quit, pretty much. And that's exactly what Undisputed Era did there. Now, they've had another fair share of good matches as well. Even the match I take over Brooklyn 4 I thought was great. Proving that, Undisputed Era just a badass tag team. And, don't really need to always, they don't always have to cheat to win. They can win clean for sure. And that's, of course, the story was told that I take over Brooklyn 4. But I still say the best tag team match this year. It was a great story and everything. Just the badass booking of Trent Seven is Undisputed Era, Mustache Mountain for the NXT tag titles on the July 11th, 2018 edition of NXT. So that, my friends, is my number 8. Number 7, Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship at WWE Backlash 2018. Although it was a black mark because that was a terrible pay-per-view. But before we got to the rest of that garbage, this opening match definitely just nailed it right on the button. So first going into this match, like, it was pretty obvious Seth was going to win this match. The IC title was probably going to go over to SmackDown. They had a US title feud involving 2 SmackDown superstars with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. Of course, that match is kind of meh at Backlash. So it was kind of obvious there. And then until then, I don't think we had really seen a one-on-one match with Seth Rollins and The Miz, because all the matches that were involving Seth Rollins and The Miz had multiple people. They had the Fatal 4-Way Ladder match, the Greatest Royal Rumble. They had that Triple Threat match at WrestleMania 34, which, again, it was still an awesome opener. Again, I knew those 3 could put on a great match if you just gave them the chance to do so, since they put on a match of the year candidate the year before in the IC title #1 contenders match for who would face Ambrose. I believe that was Extreme Rules 2017, I think it was. But this match, I felt, really told that great story, continuing to put a lot of more babyface momentum on Seth Rollins, who, when he turned face, again, and he didn't really feel like a big deal babyface until he was feuding with Triple H. They kind of had nothing much for him to do until him and Ambrose were teasing their team back up again. Of course, he got a lot of momentum with another honorable mention, the Gauntlet match on Raw, the go-home show for Evolution, where he beat both Roman Reigns and John Cena clean. He gained a ton of momentum after that night. So of course, they had to throw the IC title on him because he was, one of the hottest deals going on right now in the company. So Seth Rollins takes on The Miz in a one-on-one match. And then during the match, there comes a point where I think Seth Rollins tweaked the bad knee, I believe it was. The knee that he had surgically repaired in 2015. The Miz targeted that knee so much throughout the match because that's why, of course, the Miz doesn't make his match look so good. He plays it smart. He's able to play the mind games, outsmart people. He's not the greatest in-ring competitor, but he's able to, do the damage when it needs to be done. And Seth Rollins probably just, fought through that tooth and nail. It showed that he was struggling to, keep his both feet on the ground at some point. But, there was just a lot of, again, near falls. I believe kicked out either 1 or 2 skull-crushing finales, I believe also. And then, of course, ending with, the nice, curb stomp for him to get the victory to retain the title. But boy, did it surprise me. I thought it could be a solid match, but to me, this was a match of the year candidate again with, the near falls, look at battling through the knee, tweaked knee and whatnot and everything. It was just a great story told there. And just the way to, continue to book Seth Rollins strong as Intercontinental Champion. Would have been nice for him to get a longer run with that. Well, he got a good run from SummerSlam till this last Sunday at TLC, but that first run especially could have given him a longer run. That was, again, he was being booked very well as Intercontinental Champion. Also, shout out and props also to Tyson Kidd, who apparently was the one who wrote that match, and that again was just so awesome. Definitely see that here. He was the one who wrote that match. Definitely a great match and one of the best matches, best male matches of 2018 in WWE. Number 6, Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano, NXT TakeOver War Games 2. Woo, boy. I remember earlier this year saying that, I think it was after, or actually might have been on the last week of 2017, when Johnny Gargano pinned Aleister Black in the #1 contenders fatal 4-way match for the NXT championship. After, of course, Undisputed Era beat him down. I wrote myself, Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black should have a match someday. I'm not sure who'd be the face or who would the dynamic be, but they should have a match. We had a tease of it. They were supposed to have an NXT Championship match on NXT a couple weeks after TakeOver New Orleans, but that match got pretty much canceled because Tommaso Ciampa beat the hell out of Johnny Gargano before that match even started. Then we had kind of a batch of like a fight a couple weeks before TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Of course, later on, we revealed that Johnny Gargano was the one who attacked Aleister Black, pretty much just to help him, write him off the show since he was supposed to get some type of like groin surgery anyway. And he was going to be missing TakeOver. So that all, of course, led to this match with Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black. Johnny Gargano, again, just saying, it was nothing personal. It's just collateral damage. You got in my way. I want to be the hero at the end of the story. But I don't want you to be the hero at the end of the story. Once again, more so like a tweener move. And these guys, which once again are two of the best in-ring competitors, right now, for sure. Johnny Gargano is pretty much another Shawn Michaels. I gotta say, all of his matches this year, all 5 of Gargano's matches this year were classics, and I would put all 5 on this list, but I put 3 of them on this list because once again, I didn't want to put all the Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano matches on here unless if I felt that I needed like to repeat myself in some ways, which I did on the women's, of course. But this match was just awesome. It told that great story of Aleister Black wanted to get revenge on Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano just wanted to be the one to put Aleister Black, out of his way to be able to, eventually get his redemption on Tommaso Ciampa and fix the wrongs that he has made. Of course, he hasn't really gone after the fans yet. It's just him basically just targeting, Aleister Black. But again, he's kind of like, slowly becoming what he hates most, and that is Tommaso Ciampa. Of course, they were jawing at each other throughout the match. Again, it's a couple really great, brutal spots for sure. And then, of course, the interesting part came towards the end where Johnny Gargano was like telling Black, you know what? Just finish me. I deserve it. But it was just a way for Gargano to outsmart Black. He went for like a roll-up or something like that, and then Gargano eventually hit one Black mass on Gargano, but Gargano just fell right into Black's chest. And then Black just picked him up, looking him square in the eyes again, and he said, I absolve you of your sins. And hits a second Black mass on Gargano to get the win. Just great mix of styles of wrestling, great chemistry together, great story being told. It was a dream match that really, capitalized on the expectations. Of course, there's some dream matches on the main roster that happened, and they either didn't quite hit the note or they would just end up being god awful. Roll Reigns, Triple H. But anyways, but yeah, definitely in my opinion, most deserving of being on this list. And that is why it is my number 6 for my top 10 men's matches of 2018 for WWE. Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver War Games 2. So, of course, we're halfway through the first list. Let's go over the first half one more time. Number 10 is Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins in the IC title match on the June 25th episode of Raw. Number 9 is Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe in the IC title match on the January 1st episode of Raw. Number 8 is Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain in the NXT tag title match on the July 11th edition of NXT. Number 7 is Seth Rollins versus The Miz, the IC title match at Backlash. And number 6 is Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver War Games 2, baby. Let's, of course, check the live chat and see what we got here. I think we're right here where Robbie asks, hey, Mike, isn't it ironic that AJ Styles lost the championship the same way he beat Ambrose for it in 2016 through a low blow? That is actually, I didn't think of that, but that is true because Styles did beat Ambrose with a sneaking low blow, but then he lost it because Daniel Bryan's dreams took over and kicked AJ Styles in the nuts. Almost said AJ Balls, my goodness. What's up, TN Couponer? Thanks for joining me. I'm doing pretty good today. He made 4 videos today, which is awesome. Hashtag please sign Robbie. Also hashtag night AJ. As of course I said it last night for my top 10 segments of all time. Oh, Wendy! Let's do that. Let's see here. That Backlash trash, which again, one of the worst pay-per-views of the year. Didn't some of the crowd walk out on the main event? Oh, we will talk about that main event later on for sure. One day WWE will have an Undisputed Era DVD set. I agree. Team Kumar's worst match is Strowman and Lesnar at Crown Jewel, which we will definitely talk about that one as well for sure. Rollins was the Iron Man of that gauntlet match for sure. An hour and 6 minutes he was in that match. Of course, it doesn't beat out the 76-minute man in Daniel Bryan at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which again was the performance I felt he should have had in the 2015 Royal Rumble, but that did not happen. We're not going to talk about that because it sucked. Yeah, definitely. That his momentum picked up a lot after the Gauntlet match, and would led to have his banner year being 2018 for Rollins. Asuka versus Charlotte versus Becky TLC for the SmackDown Women's Title match. Mark mentioned. Oh, what's up, Mark? Thanks for joining us. That was definitely a great match as well. Team Kumar says, I wonder if Rollins will win the Rumble by drawing number 1. Hey, if he does win the Rumble that way, I'd say that would probably work. Have him have like an Iron Man performance. You know, Nakamura winning this year, he had like a 40-minute performance, so I thought fit. Although, once again, he wasn't really booked too well afterwards either. But we're not going to talk about Nakamura on this list as well. The inaugural North American Championship match at TakeOver New Orleans. We will talk about that. TNK Park requesting Robbie to do a WrestleMania 35 video. I definitely agree. Mark also mentioned the War Games match, which was good as well. That's a good honorable mention, I gotta say. Can you do your best Hideo Itami impression? I haven't done a Hideo Itami impression yet. Respect me! Respect me! I don't know if that works, but that was a good suggestion to try to impress Hideo Itami. I definitely think that was a good one. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz for the IC title match WrestleMania was definitely awesome. Nia the Face Breaker Jax. Oh, shut up, Nia. No one cares about you. What's up, Jay? Thank you for joining us. It's been a while, my friend. He said, are these just WWE matches or all over the world? WWE, NXT, basically just WWE for sure. I don't really watch much outside of WWE at all. But yeah, again, this is top 10. Male, top 10. Female, top 10 worst for 2018. Any Nia Jax matches on your worst matches list? I actually don't think I put any of them because those matches I didn't think were completely awful. They just were what they were. But to my surprise, no Nia Jax matches were on this list. I did consider the Extreme Rules match. I considered that one, but I think that's an honorable mention. But that did not make my list. I'm surprised for sure. Alexander and Ali was definitely great, Mark. So Jay's just joining the live chat also, but that is awesome, guys. I will keep moving here, get into the second half of my top 10 men's matches of 2018 in WWE. Number 5. This match is one of the biggest reasons why I became an even bigger fan of this certain cruiserweight. That, of course, I've been praising a lot this year. Of course, both guys in this match, you know, I definitely praise with how much better they have become due to the booking from Triple H. And now one of these guys is on SmackDown Live. In my opinion, we had a lot of great matches on 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division this year. The matches with Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander and Leo Rush, the match where Tony Nese beat Cedric Alexander. Even Tony Nese and Johnny Gargano on NXT had a great match. So many good matches. But to me, my favorite match, the best match from the Cruiserweights this year for sure, in my opinion, was Mustafa Ali versus Buddy Murphy in the no disqualification match on the July 3rd episode of 205 Live. Man, what can I say? A no disqualification match doesn't mean just throwing your opponent through 50 tables or just hitting them in the nuts every second you can get or whatnot. Again, it's just plain old stupid. Like, it doesn't, like, that doesn't feel like it's anything special. You really got to use the stipulation well. A no disqualification stipulation pretty much is like, just emphasize it's going to be a lot more of a fight. And you want to see like, a brutal fight, watch CM Punk and Brock Lesnar in 2013. Again, another one of my favorite no disqualification matches for sure. Or you can watch this match. Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali went to war. And again, what I've always said of what makes Mustafa Ali so good is the craziest bumps he takes. He sells them, but he's able to heart back, to fight back. No wonder why he was known as the heart of 205 Live this year for sure. Man, I think then, like, again, that's just some of these brutal spots. Like, of course, Buddy Murphy just, being a bigger but, typical high flying, hard hitting cruiserweight that he is, the juggernaut, again, who just, really impressed me and came out of nowhere this year. Probably, if Buddy Murphy probably did not, find his home on 205 Live, he probably would have been released this year. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. Again, him and Murphy together. I mean, Blake and Murphy as a tag team were what they were. But again, I never thought Buddy Murphy could ever be as good as he is. And of course, one of my favorite parts of this match, I think, is that Spanish fly that Buddy Murphy hit on Mustafa Ali, and they landed on a table, for crying out loud. A freaking table. It was just a great spot. It was just a brutal, physical match that just told this great story that it just felt just focused around wrestling, and it was awesome. It was great. I loved it. And to me, it actually on this list is the best men's main roster match. So the rest of these matches are all from NXT, but this, in my opinion, was the best men's main roster match, a 205 Live match. You really thought that we would ever, after the booking of the cruiserweights since they came back in 2016, you really thought that they would ever hit, in my top 10 matches of all time, 205 Live. But the right man took over that show, and they just took off from there, and they're not looking back, and it's still a fun show. And of course, I'm getting even more excitement for it because guys like Mustafa Ali are getting opportunities on, like, SmackDown and whatnot. So get Cedric Alexander getting into like some picture on one of those shows as well, and we're gonna really take off from there. So, but that's why, of course, my number 5 is Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy in the no disqualification match on the July 3rd episode of 205 Live. That is my number 5. My number 4. This one I feel definitely could have been a little higher up, but again, it was tough. It was very tough with, these last 4 matches. My number 4, the main event of NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano. I say this how many times? I really feel this feud with Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas made me, and I'm sure it made most of us, a lot more of a fan of Andrade Cien Almas, and at least had the respect for him. Yeah, he's not one of my favorites of all time, but I definitely, appreciate, the work he puts in and feel that this guy can definitely do some great things. Of course, a lot of people are saying he should have a U.S. title match or something like that with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, which I think would be awesome if they went with that match at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas with the United States Championship on the line. Doesn't matter who has the title. I think that would be an awesome match for WrestleMania for sure. On the main card, even an opening match, if you want to put it that way. But of course, Andrade Cien Almas wasn't really doing much for me until he paired up with Zelina Vega. And again, I really like how they tied in the storyline of, like, Ciampa and Gargano into it with Almas and Gargano as well. They beat him thanks to, distraction by Zelina Vega wearing the DIY shirt there at TakeOver Brooklyn 3. They did the same thing in another match on NXT. And I kept calling it for months. I said, Andrade Cien Almas should win the NXT championship, and that feud needs to have an NXT title match. And it did. And boy, did I expect it to be, a solid match. I didn't expect it to be an instant classic. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa just beat the hell out of each other for a good 30 minutes. I can't remember the exact time for this match, but it was a long match. It was brutal, but it came to literally a point, with all the near falls, the brutality from Almas, and all the bumps once again that Johnny Gargano took. You did not know who was going to win this match, and you didn't know when Tommaso Ciampa was going to appear. You knew he was coming back tonight. That night, it had to have happened that night. And to spice it up, also, you had Zelina Vega, who had been bullying Johnny Gargano for the previous 6 months or whatnot. And then finally, Johnny has some help with his wife, Candice LeRae, making her NXT debut by coming through the crowd and beating the hell out of Zelina Vega. And it was just awesome. It was just utter chaos. Again, the near falls were crazy. I believe they kicked out of each other's finishers and whatnot. But, we all knew Johnny Gargano could put on an instant classic. But Andrade Cien Almas, this definitely at least gave the fans a lot more respect and a lot more, feel that this guy can do a lot of great things if you give him the right booking. I thought he had a good showing in the Royal Rumble match. He's had a couple of good matches with AJ Styles on the main roster, I felt. Give this guy something more to do. He definitely is deserving of, being a main eventer or something. I mean, right now I'd say he's still more of a big card talent on the main roster, but, this guy's talented. He knows what he's doing, and definitely give him the opportunities. So I'm glad, of course, he's on SmackDown, and he's done good so far. I mean, he hasn't really done too much with them lately, but again, the times he's been given opportunities, he has done good. Of course, this match again was an instant classic. Great storytelling. Just you had no clue who was going to win this match at a certain point. You had no idea who was going to win this. But that is why my number 4 is Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. That is my number 4. My number 3. Boy, was this an awesome opener. One of the best opening matches to any pay-per-view I have ever seen. And I think Mark mentioned it in the live chat earlier. Adam Cole versus Ricochet versus EC3 versus Lars Sullivan versus Killian Dane versus the Velveteen Dream in a 6-man ladder match for the debuting NXT North American Championship at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. The best takeover of the year, the best pay-per-view of the year for sure. This match was amazing. The ladder usage was great. Everyone in this match showcased their talents in some ways in this match. This, of course, was also the debuting matches as well for Ricochet and EC3 as well. I still think the one who was the most brutal in this match for sure was Lars Sullivan, slamming people through the ladders, Killian Dane doing his multitasking moments that he did when he was in NXT. Velveteen Dream, dude, I think he off of either top of a ladder did a sick purple rain breaker on Lars Sullivan. Again, I love when he gets tight on that purple rain maker, not breaker, maker. It is just freaking awesome. EC3 had a great show. I mean, yeah, this time he was kind of more of a heel side, but he's a babyface now, but I think he was great. Ricochet just gave us an early taste of what he could all do. And of course, Adam Cole was just being Adam Cole in this match. Again, everyone utilizing the ladder very well. It was just 6 stacked talents in NXT showcasing their skills for a mid-card title that they made feel very relevant instantly right off the bat. And of course, this came at a time, of course, where, the Undisputed Era was ready to be draped in gold. And Adam Cole, struck by getting the NXT North American Championship. Of course, they still want to get all 4 of them now draped in gold, since this is the night also where Roderick Strong turned heel and joined the Undisputed Era in shocking fashion. But this match in general, again, the 6-man ladder match for a North American Championship, definitely, in my opinion, one of the greatest opening matches to a pay-per-view show yet. This got the crowd hot right off the bat. Again, the ladders utilized well. Everyone showcased their skills perfectly. To me, it was a classic and one of the best ladder matches I have ever seen, in my opinion. And that is why it is my number 3 on my top 10 men's matches of 2018. So that is my number 3. Number 2. From NXT TakeOver War Games 2, Tommaso Ciampa versus the Velveteen Dream for the NXT Championship at TakeOver War Games 2. Man, what makes Tommaso Ciampa such a great heel is his mind games. What makes Velveteen Dream great as well is the fact that the guy just oozes charisma big time. He has, the microphone skills. He always looks like he's really nailing the character to a T. You can say, of course, the same thing about Tommaso Ciampa. And two of the biggest names, two of the biggest future stars on the main roster, that is, if they're booked right on the main roster, came together for this experience, as the Velveteen Dream wants to call it. Some crazy ass bumps in this match. Just so much physical, so much, mind games and whatnot. Velveteen Dream pulling out, the Hulk Hogan moves and whatnot. And there, he pretty much came out like, as, the newest Hulk Hogan, basically, based off his ring gear, what he did in the ring and whatnot. Just some of the craziest, near falls as well, including that one where I believe he hit the Dream Valley driver onto the floor outside the ring, threw Tommaso Ciampa back into the ring, and did a purple rainmaker off the top rope. We all thought Dream had him there and won the championship, but Tommaso Ciampa kicked out. Again, this was when he kicked out of that, I had the same reaction I did. And keep in mind, again, this other match that I had, like that big shocking match, one of the the biggest kickouts, surprise kickouts, again, was when I watched WrestleMania 28 a couple years ago for the first time, when Triple H and Shawn Michaels super kicked and then pedigreed the Undertaker, and Taker still kicked out in the end of an era Hell in a Cell match, WrestleMania 28. Again, I had the same exact reaction I had when Tommaso Ciampa kicked out of the Velveteen Dream's finisher after he hit with the Death Valley driver and the Purple Rainmaker. Of course, these guys went to different lengths to get each other to, not be able to continue on this match. I think they had some brawl outside the ring. They threw them into the announce table. I believe Ciampa also threw something or smacked something out of Mauro Ranallo's hands. I can't remember if it was him or been someone else. That did happen at one point this year, but it was brutal. It was a physical match. Just great storytelling, great mind games. The near falls were epic. And then, of course, after Ciampa kicked out of that near fall, Dream went for another Purple Rainmaker to hit Ciampa on the apron, but Ciampa got out of the way, and Dream hit his elbow off of the apron. Ciampa got back into the ring, knew how to take it to another level, so he hits that draping DDT onto the steel in between both of the rings. Since it was War Games, he had two rings. But he wins the match after hitting Velveteen Dream with a draping DDT on the steel steps. Again, it was an unreal, amazing classic between these two. Again, this the near falls, the mind games, the Hulk Hogan moments, the storytelling. It was talked about that, this was not the main event of the show, as the War Games match was definitely for sure going to be the main event of the show. But if this was the main event of the show, dear Lord, would have been one of the greatest main events of all time. Any of the matches on this show, for the most part, TakeOver War Games 2 could have been a main event match with how good it was. Awesome match, and just showing off why these two are definitely two of the greatest in 2018 for sure. Not just in NXT, but all of WWE and even all wrestling around the world as well. Epic match, and that is why it is my number 2 for best men's matches of 2018. And my number 1 best male match, and in my opinion, my match of the year. So it's obviously, for me, one of the 3 matches with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, which were all 3 awesome classics. I didn't want to put all 3 of them on this list, but they're all definitely number 1 for sure. But if I had to pick which one was my favorite, I'm sorry, I got to put the Last Man Standing match as the weakest in my opinion, because it was a classic, don't get me wrong. But to me, it felt like it wasn't much different from the previous match. And, of course, they kind of hit a little bit of a dead end because, with Aleister Black being written out, so they had to make another one-on-one match between those two. Now, the match in New Orleans had a long build to it, 9-month build. And it was an emotional roller coaster ride. The storytelling, of course, was epic and everything. But I'm sorry, I still got to give the edge to their Chicago street fight at NXT TakeOver Chicago. My personal opinion, I felt that was their best match. I know a lot of people think it was TakeOver. It was the unsanctioned match in New Orleans because of the long build and just the emotional side and whatnot. I get it. That match, I mean, was a classic, but the match that I really wanted to see was an all-out brutal fight. Yes, that was the same thing we got at the unsanctioned match. This one was not as emotional. It was more so to another heated level between these two, and they literally just wanted to kill each other even more. And the storytelling was still in the match. It was a more faster, brutal match, pretty much between them. And the storytelling there was gold as well. I kept saying, there needed to be a moment in this match that just pretty much went back and just redid what exactly happened at NXT TakeOver Chicago the previous year when Tommaso Ciampa first turned his back on Johnny Gargano. And Ciampa more so just dragged Johnny up the ramp after they had beaten down each other for a good 20 minutes already or so in the ring with different weapons, crutches, steps, chairs, kendo sticks. Like, they used it all, exposing that floor in the ring, which we'll get to that in a second. So they get up to the ramp, and Tommaso Ciampa pretty much, throws Johnny into the stage post just like he did. But then Johnny Gargano turned the tables, and he started brawling with Ciampa, doing the same exact thing that Ciampa did to him the year before when he first turned on him. And Johnny brutalized him. He hit him with like a similar Samoan drop, like a white noise thing like Sheamus does, through 2 tables, and that was causing Tommaso Ciampa to be taken out on a stretcher. But before that, Tommaso Ciampa had ripped off Johnny Gargano's wedding ring. He spit on it and he threw it. And Johnny Gargano was not just going to settle for Tommaso Ciampa being taken out on a stretcher. He wanted to do more damage. So Johnny was sitting on, sitting by where he had just, sent Tommaso Ciampa through the tables, just pondering. But you can see that rage was digging. He was like grabbing at like the finger where his wedding ring was. And he went back, and once again, like, this is the exact story they had to do to further on this feud. Again, this is why, again, I preferred this match more than the unsanctioned, because the unsanctioned match, again, was still a classic, but this one had the more faster-paced, brutal side to it. And it just took the whole story to a whole nother level with Johnny Gargano, like, embracing more and more of Tommaso Ciampa. And this is really where it started. Johnny Gargano ripped Tommaso Ciampa off of there. He handcuffed him in the ring and literally just beat the shit out of him with different weapons and whatnot. And then, he goes back into the ring to try to, finish him off. But out of the blue, while handcuffed, Tommaso Ciampa hits a draping DDT on Johnny Gargano, but Johnny went face first into the exposed wooden floor in the ring for Tommaso Ciampa to pull off the victory despite being handcuffed. Again, the unsanctioned match was, a little more of like a slower paced match, but it was a classic slower paced, brutal, emotional roller coaster ride. This one I thought was a more faster paced, brutal match that I wanted to more so see, which is why it is my number 1 match. And again, this is not just my number 1 men's match of the year. This is my number 1 match of the year. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in the Chicago street fight. Of course, the last man standing match was great. Didn't really show much difference though from their last encounter though. But the TakeOver New Orleans match again was definitely I know a lot of people probably consider that one of the best matches, but again, the storytelling that was amazing as well. But again, I just still preferred the Chicago street fight just a little bit more, I gotta say, because of the events that took place in it. But that is why that is my number 1 men's and greatest match of 2018. So let's read the first top 10 list of the top 10 men's matches one more time. Number 10 is Ziggler and Rollins, the IC title on the June 25th edition of Raw. Number 9 was Reigns and Joe at the IC title match on the first Raw of the new year. Number 8 was Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain in the tag title match on July 11th episode of NXT. Number 7 is Rollins and Miz IC title at Backlash. Number 6 is Black and Gargano at War Games. Number 5 is Ali and Murphy No DQ 205 Live on July 3rd. Number 4 is Almas and Gargano at TakeOver Philadelphia for the NXT Championship. Number 3 is the 6-man ladder match for the North American Championship at TakeOver New Orleans. Number 2 is Ciampa and Dream at TakeOver War Games 2. Number 1 is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in the Chicago Street Fight at NXT TakeOver Chicago. That is a pretty strong top 10 list for the best men's matches of 2018. So before we move on, of course, to the women's match, top 10 women's matches of 2018, let's check out the live chat once again and see who we got here. Let's see here. Let me see. We were right here. Jay says his personal favorites is the 6-man ladder match, but he thinks Gargano and Almas to take over Philly is number 1 for him, which that's a great pick as well for number 1 for sure. Mark thinks Dream and Ciampa is the best, and also Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Let's see here. Great choice. TN Coupon says, I have not talked about the last women's stand match yet because I just did men's matches. Now I'm going to be doing female matches next, but that is definitely on that list for sure. Yeah, Adam Cole. Aleister Black and Adam Cole take over Philadelphia Extreme Rules was awesome. JFL Velveteen Dream should have won. Discarded there. It's a shame that they had Kairi lose in her first time defense. That did suck for sure. Who do you see winning the Fatal 4-Way match this Wednesday? Honestly, it needs to, even though it would be a heel-on-heel match, or maybe they might get Shayna Baszler back, Kairi Sane back involved in the feud still, since there's kind of unfinished business with her and, the Horsewoman, but I honestly think it's got to be Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is beyond ready to be in an NXT Women's Championship match. I think she's going to win the Fatal 4-Way this year for sure. Let's see here. Let's see here. Why did they have the ladder match? Did they have a ladder match for? Let me see here. I missed this one. Worst was Lashley and Elias at TLC. We will for sure talk about that. Why did they have the ladder match? Then they could have had it for Rollins and Ambrose. Could have helped. Oh, for sure, it could have helped them. Worst, the Raw tag title match at Mania. Oh God, don't remind me about that. Ricochet and Pete Dunne was great. Also, Ricochet and Tyler Breeze was great as well. Thank you for TNQ Power pointing over. Tony Storm and Io Shirai. Tony Storm, Meiko Satomura, Mark is mentioning. Good match from the Cruiser. The Mae Young Classic for sure. Jay felt the ending of the street fight was kind of just out of nowhere. True, but to me, I felt it really, just set the tone of how things were just going to go down for Gargano big time after that. He looked like he had Ciampa in the palm of his hands, but just like that, things changed. And I really like that. I really did like that finish for the street fight. Just as my opinion, though. Favorite WCW match of all time. Izzy Coyle asking that. I'm sorry, I have never watched any WCW, but thank you for asking me the question. Thank you for joining us in the live chat, Izzy. But you may continue to, chat those if you like. Let's see here. The worst match for him is Asuka and James Ellsworth. Oh, goodness. Yes, for sure. Izzy's favorite match 2018 has got to be Seth and Miz, which is an excellent choice. TN Coupon says, worst anything Ellsworth for sure. Hopefully WWE pushes the talent they get from New Japan Pro Wrestling will be awesome. But once again, Vince didn't create them, so what's going to happen there. Let's see here. Jay thinks that Belair is ready to get a takeover match, but not the title just yet. She will be an NXT Women's Champion, though, by the end of 2019, which in some ways is kind of true. You think about it, Bianca Belair's won all of her matches, but I feel like you got to do have a point there. I'm still going to say she, out of all 4 of them, she's the most ready because Io Shirai and Mia Yim, they're awesome, not yet. Lacey Evans is about to go to the main roster. So, I mean, she's not bad. But again, I'm not really, like, extremely impressed with her. But she's not bad. I mean, the four of them for sure. Bianca Belair deserves it. But again, I feel like, they could explore her a little bit more. Like, develop her a little bit more as a character first before she even wins the title. So I see your point there for sure. Jay, I got to agree with you on that. Mark says, worst is Asuka and Carmella Extreme Rules. Ooh, yeah. Mark also, Robbie says, what was worse, Asuka and James Ellsworth, or James Ellsworth dressing up as Asuka? Oh, gosh. I have no clue, Robbie, but those were both god-awful. And Jay, and, let's see here. And also Bianca Belair is undefeated, or undefeated. I thought first she said undefeated for something like that at first, but yeah, that. And Jay says Lacey Evans is Vince's type. That's the only reason I think she's getting moved up. Sadly, oh yeah, tall woman. You know, I'll be honest. You know, I don't always think she's one of the best looking, but I remember the one time she came out in this really nice looking black dress, and I'm like, damn, Lacey. But she's blonde. She's a bigger woman. Might become a victim of that. But hopefully it's not the case for Lacey Evans. I mean, I don't think she's ready for the main roster yet, but, you know, we'll see what WWE does with her when they bring her up. Let's cross our fingers it's not terrible. But we'll see what happens. But, yeah. But let's get to the female matches. Speaking of females, let's talk about next the top 10 female matches, or women's matches of 2018. Now, this list does have 2 repetitive matches on this list for sure. I mean, well, 2 matches from a feud on this list that I just couldn't decide. You can kind of count that occasion twice, but one of them, of course, has one extra person. And it's kind of obvious which one that is. But this was a little bit tougher list to get, which is why my first match on this list, my number 10, is not a complete women's match. However, I put this match on this list because, one, I couldn't think of another good women's match to put on this list. And number 2, because it was based off of pretty much, you know, one sole person in this match, and that was Ronda Rousey. Which is why my number 10, despite the fact that this is not a complete women's one-on-one match, but my number 10 for women's match of the year is the mixed tag match at WrestleMania 34 with Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle taking on Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Because again, this match, the goal behind it was for people to believe that Ronda Rousey belongs in the WWE. We've been wanting to see this match for 3 years. Yes, it would have been nice to see, you know, The Rock be your tag partner instead of Kurt Angle, which, you know, I love you, Kurt, but I'm sorry. You were by far the weakest person in this match, I gotta say. But this match just brought a lot of excitement. In my opinion, this or the SmackDown Women's Championship match at WrestleMania 34 was match of the night, no doubt about it. This or Charlotte and Asuka was match of the night at WrestleMania 34. There's no secret at all whatsoever. I enjoyed this match. Not just the fact that, you know, Stephanie McMahon got her arm ripped out of her socket, but the fact also that Ronda Rousey even beat the shit out of Triple H. Like, you know, she's being put over as the baddest woman on the planet. And yes, her promo skills were definitely off at that time. But to me, it still fit into the story with, you know, does Ronda Rousey really belong here? And yes, she was kind of rushed to the championship picture very fast. Although, you know, the story was, you know, Nia Jax just, you know, wanting the competition and wanted to see if Ronda Rousey could beat her. This is when Nia Jax was a babyface. Now she is just an annoying heel. Whatnot. Or fine. Yeah, she blew my eardrums out the first night she did that. But anyways, this match did the job it needed to do. Put over Ronda Rousey and make her like a badass, looking like that she belongs in here. Again, she beat the shit out of Stephanie McMahon. She beat the shit out of Triple H for sure. Like, she flipped over Triple H, I believe, besides, of course, the fact when she put him through a table at the contract signing at Elimination Chamber. But this match did its job. And, you know, to me, since I couldn't quite think of another match to put on this list for women, I had to give this one the credit because, once again, the main focus of this match was to put over Ronda Rousey. And that is why, of course, I'm going to give this my number 10 for top 10 women's match of the year. So that one is my number 10. So do not judge me. If you guys are not happy, I put a mixed tag match in that involved 2 guys in there. I'm sorry. So that was my number 10. My number 9. Now, I was back and forth because I did not know which, because this is one of the instances where there was 2 matches from this feud that I couldn't decide which one I enjoyed better. But my number 9 match is Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Now, there is a match I did kind of enjoy this a little bit better than this match, but I know a lot of people definitely think this was their best match, which I can understand that. I personally, though, enjoyed another match between the two just a little bit more. But the match at TakeOver Brooklyn 4, basically the story of this, going into it, this was the rubber match between Baszler and Sane after they had the match at the first Mae Young Classic, which Kairi won. Then they had a match at on NXT a couple months after a Shayna debut, and I believe Shayna either won or she won by or she lost by disqualification. I can't remember, but this was the rubber match between these two. And the story of this, Kairi Sane, having some good performances throughout the year, but did she have the killer instinct with this even more improved Shayna Baszler since their match at the Mae Young Classic? This is a different Shayna Baszler, and was Kairi ready for that? Well, she was. She was definitely more physical. She was definitely more brutal. She brought out more of that killer instinct in this match. We had a few near falls. She had to fight out of a lot of, times whenever, Shayna Baszler had the Karafuda clutch on her as well. It was a short, it was probably like a 10, 12, 15-minute match, but it was still a very strong match. And Kairi won the match, of course, with the insane elbow drop. No, I'm sorry, she didn't win it. Here's the thing, she did not win the match with the insane elbow. She won it with a roll-up, which I think that's why I put this match a little down lower, because she won it by a roll-up, I believe it is. I think that's why I enjoyed the other match better than this one. But she still wins the championship and still looks dominating in the match. Of course, she wouldn't be able to retain it in the rematch at Evolution, but it was still an awesome match, on an epic pay-per-view. Once again, my number 2 for best takeover of the year, which is TakeOver Brooklyn 4. But that is why it is my number 9 on this list, is Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. So that is my number 8 on this list. I'm sorry, that was my number 9. I'm sorry. Now let's move on to my number 8. Let's see if you guys remember this match, because I remember this match, especially from a near nasty botch that took place that could have really injured this person. But my number 8 women's match of the year, and you can make an argument that another match involving this person could be on this list, is Sasha Banks versus Asuka on the January 29th, 2018 edition of Raw. I believe that was the correct name. It was the Raw after the Royal Rumble. Now, another honorable mention was the match with Asuka and Bayley the following week. That was another great match. This one, though, of course, I thought was awesome. And I think at the time on the main roster, before Asuka did drop the title, drop her undefeated streak, of course, in NXT, it was Ember Moon. I think this was the closest that someone ever came to breaking Asuka's undefeated streak on the main roster. The match was just excellent. These two worked very well together. Sasha Banks was, kind of like, bringing out more of like, this is when I thought they were going to finally turn Sasha Banks heel, because they were starting to tease this stuff with Sasha and Bayley, but of course we all know it went absolutely nowhere. But Sasha Banks pretty much wanted to prove that she could be the one. She wanted a shot at the Empress, and it was just a great back and forth, near fall, well, of course, near tap out match, of course. And of course, we all cannot forget that one time where Sasha goes to that suicide dive, and I believe she got her foot caught on the rope or something like that, and she almost like came down like hard and hit her face or something like that. Like it was a scary looking spot that I remember I was watching that at my friend Dan Guy's house. We watched that Raw together because we had so many leftovers from our Rumble party the night before. But that was a hold my breath part, but I thought it was just a great back and forth match, showing that if you do give Asuka the right opponent, the right time, the right booking, well, even with Sasha Banks also, these two could definitely have a WrestleMania worthy match. I mean, Asuka and Bayley already had great matches in NXT, which again, I still think their best match was at TakeOver Dallas in 2016. That was their best match. The finish to the TakeOver Brooklyn 2 match, that was a little bit abrupt. That's why I wasn't as big of I'm sorry, TakeOver Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn 2. I mean, that match was good, but I felt the finish was a little bit abrupt. But yeah, this match definitely showed the potential for a great WrestleMania match with Asuka and Sasha Banks. And maybe we will get it someday. Who knows? You know, Asuka's getting back on track now, winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. We will see. Maybe we will see that. But it is my number 8 on my list for my top 10 women's matches of 2018. Sasha Banks and Asuka on the January 29th edition of Raw. Number 7. Now, of course, some of you probably again argue that, you know, the Brooklyn match was the best one between Baszler and Kairi Sane. But personally, I kind of enjoyed the 2 out of 3 falls match with Baszler and Sane. I kind of enjoyed the 2 out of 3 falls match a little bit more at TakeOver War Games 2. Because I feel like, you know, both with the 3 falls, it was able to bring out, you know, both ends of the story and even, you know, get another story further and going on with, you know, the other 2 members of the Horsewoman with Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir getting involved, of course, as they did, you know, previously at the Evolution match. They also did here. Of course, the highest staking drama there with, you know, Kairi Sane tapping out early with to the Karafuda clutch based off of some of the distractions. And then, you know, she was trying to take out, you know, Kairi Sane. I mean, Kairi Sane was trying to take out not herself. She was also attempting to take out not just Baszler, but also Duke and Shafir. And she had some help thanks to Dakota Kai, who had a history. And I believe it was her first appearance in NXT, but the debuting Io Shirai as well, who in real life, apparently, her and Kairi are best friends, helping out as well. Just a high stakes drama, looking like pretty much that, you know, they pretty much did clean house. Kind of like making an even match of what happened with Gargano and Almas as well after Candice LeRae took out Zelina Vega from the picture. But thanks to, you know, that those distractions of getting down the Horsewoman, you know, Kairi was able to get the second pinfall with the insane elbow drop. But then despite all that, after another great brutal fight between these two, Shayna Baszler again was able to put the Karafuda clutch on Kairi, saying Kairi fought tooth and nail, but she passed out. Excuse me. And Shayna Baszler becomes the first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion. But I really like this match because of the drama involving, you know, the Horsewoman. You know, I felt, you know, they were able to bring out the best because, yes, you know, she had the killer instinct and whatnot at the TakeOver Brooklyn 4 match, but of course the finish though I felt like, you know, was what kind of made me favor the 2 out of 3 falls match a little bit more than the Brooklyn match, but it was still an awesome match. Again, both of them were women's match of the year candidates, but that's why I had to go with that as my number 7. Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane, 2 out of 3 falls at NXT TakeOver War Games 2, the 2 out of 3 falls match that is. Number 6, despite the fact that this did not have a clean finish to it, this is setting up for an even bigger match down the line that could very well be a triple threat match in the main event of WrestleMania 35. My number 6, WrestleMania came early this year because of an injury. Well, it still came early, but because of course, you know, the face breaker, Nia Jax, breaking Becky Lynch's face. Becky chose Charlotte to replace her at Survivor Series to represent SmackDown. So this match happens. Obviously, you know, Becky Lynch and Charlotte had just gone through a war together, and Becky chose Charlotte, telling her to destroy Ronnie the way, you know, I would have done so. The match happens, and it was, keep in mind, this was one of the first matches that Ronda Rousey has had with an actual, like, really, like, you know, big star in the WWE, in Charlotte Flair. And I felt it showed that Ronda Rousey could really hang with her, which also kind of helped her pretty much carry the match with Nia Jax at TLC last weekend, which is still kind of sad. But you know, um, but this match was showing that Ronda Rousey can definitely hang with the big fish in WWE, and how herself, Charlotte, and even Becky Lynch. I'm still going to say this now. I am predicting for the women's Royal Rumble match, I am still predicting they're going to do something like they did with Lex Luger and Bret Hart at the 1994 Royal Rumble match. I really think that's what's going to happen with Charlotte and Becky in some ways. If not, then Becky's got to win that Rumble to herself. Don't have just Charlotte win that to herself. Have it be Becky Lynch, because it's obvious that both of these women are. What the heck was that? Probably watching a movie downstairs. But it's obvious that, both of these women are going to be having a match with Ronda Rousey. And with the build, and with how, Becky and Charlotte are literally going at each other's throats right now, and of course, how they want to go at Ronda as well. Like, the heat and the build is there. Like, these three can go out there and literally try to kill each other pretty much. Well, not literally, but, looking like they're really trying to beat the shit out of each other. And that's, of course, how this kind of got set up with Charlotte pretty much somewhat teasing the start of a slow heel turn that she did, which she pretty much has more so embraced it now. Turning heel whenever she just started just beating the crap out of Ronda Rousey, causes disqualification, showing that Charlotte felt that she wasn't able to beat Ronda, but she fired all of her best shots at her. And to me, it's setting up for bigger and better things to come. And to me, it was kind of woke me up and appreciate Survivor Series a little bit more this year, because before that, it was just meh. I mean, it was still kind of a meh show because of the results. But I give credit for this one as one of the best women's matches of the year for sure. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte at Survivor Series 2018 is my number 6. So far for a top 10 women's matches, we got number 10 being the mixed tag match with Ronda and Kurt versus Stephanie and Triple H. Number 9 is Shayna and Kairi at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Number 8 is Sasha and Asuka on Raw January 29th. Number 7 is Shayna and Kairi in the 2 out of 3 Falls match at War Games. Number 6 is Ronda and Charlotte at Survivor Series this year. So that is my list so far. Let's go to the live chat and see what we got here again. Let's just check in on that. Let me see. I think we were right here. Do you think Vince receives a discount on plastic surgeries? Who knows? He probably does. Jay says the mixed tag was surprisingly match of the night at Mania. Some people say Flair versus Asuka. This was the best in his opinion, which I agree definitely. Ronda looked legit for sure. Mark says the worst is any match that Brock and Nia are in. Oh, for sure. Unless you're Ronda Rousey, you can actually carry it into a solid match. I'll never forget what Kurt said at Chamber. 3 years in the making. Now we own the bitch. Oh, yes. Besides, the only Brock Lesnar match that actually was good this year was a match with Daniel Bryan. I do agree for sure. But yeah, Brock is not safe to work with. He hasn't injured anyone in his time back recently, though, for sure. But he's still, it looks like he's tough to work with, though. Also, just look at what he did to the Singh brothers. Did he really suplex the Singh brothers? Well, he did, suplex. He did write off J&J Security off of TV. Let's see here. I already talked about my thoughts with Charlotte and Ronda. DX and Brothers of Destruction. I didn't see the match, but I heard it wasn't really that great. Charlotte and Asuka was great. Before Asuka lost her streak, she was undefeated. That wasn't her line. I am undefeated. I'm the champ. Their War Games match I still felt was a bit rushed, but it was still great in Jay's opinion, which is completely fine. Worst men's elimination chamber match. They had Braun pin all those guys, but lose to Roman. No offense to him, which I agree, but it still wasn't an all right match. But yeah, I agree. That was just terrible booking on their part, just teasing us like that. Jay hopes it's Becky versus Ronda without Charlotte involved. Would be nice, but Charlotte's going to get involved because obviously they have unfinished business. So that's just my opinion. Or they could just have Charlotte go to Raw, then again, I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. Jay could have Charlotte versus Ronda at Rumble, then Becky versus Ronda at Mania. They could. Another worse is the Lucha House Party versus the Revival. Oh boy, you better believe we're going to be talking about that one as well, Mark. But let's get to, of course, to the top 5 women's matches of all time now. Number 5 just happened last Sunday. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Asuka. The SmackDown Live Women's Championship match, the TLC Triple Threat match at TLC 2018. It's very weird that there are 4 other matches that I like better than this one. Because let me tell you something. Main roster-wise, I'd say some of the best matches we've seen this year were from the women, for sure. And this was one of them. And again, I still like a couple matches better than this, but it just cracks me up, though, because this was pretty much exactly what I wanted. So going into this was Becky Lynch's first match back since Nia Jax punched her in the face, which getting her comeuppance, beating up Nia Jax backstage was awesome last week. It was awesome. We loved it. Of course, Charlotte, getting this opportunity. Once again, why is she in that opportunity? I don't know. But and of course, Asuka, just being revived pretty much, just looking dangerous. Like, of course, using that kendo stick as a samurai sword, at the go home edition of SmackDown Live or TLC. But this match was awesome. Asuka had her moments in there. Charlotte and Becky were brutalizing each other with those with the tables, ladders, and chairs. Taking the bumps appropriately, not playing them safe, pretty much, as I expected them to do so. Of course, you can't forget the spot again, because Becky did this also at the Last Woman Standing match, where she jumped off of the ladder and just I went right through Charlotte and Asuka into the table and whatnot. To again, the sequence towards the end where it was just Becky and Charlotte, and it literally, you could tell those two were booked to literally hate each other, want to tear each other's heads off, pretty much, as they basically did. That it was a flat out fight, and that's what you want to see between a face with two people. I should say face and heel, but two people who are booked to dislike each other that much. And they're both about to win the match until Ronda Rousey came up, getting her comeuppance on, and getting her revenge on Becky Lynch for, invading Raw, and for what Charlotte did to her at Survivor Series, pushing the ladder over, and they fell off. Asuka climbed up, and Asuka, despite, probably, still being out of the match for a little bit, it felt like won the women's championship. Now, of course, I could put this higher up on the list, but I think what would make me appreciate this match better is if how good Asuka is booked as champion, of course, because once again, as I said, the last couple of weeks they were good, but again, they could have told some really great, compelling story about Asuka after losing the match and getting back. Or as the Lex Man said, Asuka could have won the title at WrestleMania. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Carmella, maybe possibility of failing her cash in, but obviously her title reign was nothing to write home about. But Asuka could have, kept the title until SummerSlam. And in that triple threat, they could have done the same thing. Charlotte pinned Becky, and that could have led to the Charlotte and Becky feud. And then Asuka could have won the championship back here or something like that, as the Lex Man suggested. But to me, again, they could have done something to explore Asuka's character more than just being about losing. But we'll see what happens. But to me, again, I got what I wanted with this match. And, I could have made it my women's match of the year, but there was 4 more matches that I enjoyed, including 2 matches that I could not decide which one to make my number 1. It was very tough. But, of course, that's my number 5 is the TLC triple threat match last week for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Number 4 is Charlotte versus Asuka, SmackDown Women's Championship, WrestleMania 34. Obviously, Asuka won the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. She was still undefeated on the main roster, which I appreciated that they still gave her some time with the undefeated streak. They still made it important, but you can tell that, the mileage for the undefeated streak was running out. And once again, I thought first what they were going to do is have Asuka win the championship from Charlotte. And then a year later, we'd see Asuka and Ronda Rousey and Ronda Rousey would be the one to dethrone Asuka. But I felt that I don't think I didn't trust the main roster with, the lack of depth in the women's divisions to be able to book, Asuka in a solid, feud over solid year run with the championship. The depth was not there. So I felt, you know what, even if she loses to Charlotte here, it's all right because, Charlotte, even though, again, Charlotte's starting to become someone who just has done everything. It's like, okay, can give someone else the opportunities, which, could be if Becky Lynch is the one to first pin Ronda Rousey. But anyways, so this match took place. And obviously, Asuka won the Royal Rumble. She wanted to challenge the best. She'd already beaten Alexa Bliss, so she wanted to beat Charlotte to prove that she was the best. She lost the match, admitting that Charlotte was ready for Asuka, just showing respect, and then the streak was over. But once again, it led to a downfall for Asuka for a while after that. But I still felt this was great. A lot of near falls, really showing that Asuka, really, when booked right, is legitimately one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now. And that even though Charlotte's got how many opportunities, of course, she still is definitely deserves to be at the top like she is for sure as well. And again, they battled through it, and it just didn't make Asuka look weak losing this match either. Like, it did look like Charlotte had to do a lot to get Asuka to tap out to the figure 8. And I was shocked when she did, but of course, it was definitely a WrestleMania moment for Charlotte. And of course, a great, first performance by Asuka at WrestleMania, as well as by losing. She still lost, looking strong, I felt. Like, Asuka did everything she could to beat Charlotte, but Charlotte also did everything she could, and she had to do to beat Asuka as well. So Charlotte was ready for Asuka at WrestleMania 34, and to me, it was one of the best women's matches of the year. So that's why it is my number 4 on this list. Now, my number 3, until October, this was going to be my women's match of the year because and I'll explain why, of course, in a second, but my number 3 for women's match of the year is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, take away from the fact that Alexa Bliss won this match, which, it was what it was. Again, I'm not the biggest Alexa Bliss hater, but I do agree she's gotten way too many opportunities already for this early in her career, and already being like a 6-time women's champion. Wait, let me see here. I think 6. Yeah, let me think here. She's won the SmackDown title twice, and she won the women's championship. Bayley, and then won again. I think she's I believe 6-time. 6. Yeah, 6. Wait, no. Gosh, I can't remember. 5 or 6. 5 or 6-time women's champion already, Alexa Bliss is. I don't know why. I feel like, again, they kind of dragged out her Raw last title reign until she draws it to Nia Jax. I feel like they dragged it out. But, again, my thing was, keep her relevant, but just keep her away from the title picture for a while, which is also good. Kind of good way for her also with taking this break with her concussions and whatnot, because you can keep her away from the title picture for a while. So I wasn't really completely cool with Alexa winning it, but of course the cash and shit was good as well. But like, it was what it was. They probably just need someone more credible to put over Ronda Rousey than Nia Jax. Sorry, no offense. Like the story with Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey fit more, I felt, than Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. But anyways, why did I really like this women's Money in the Bank ladder match? Ever since the women started, doing more so like the men can do, no disqualification matches, tables matches, steel cage matches, Hell in a Cell matches, all these matches they did, say, oh, put the stipulation on for a women's match, which was so cool. The problem was I still felt like, they weren't going all out. They were still kind of playing it safe, in my opinion. My mind was changed, though, when we got to this women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I believe included Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, Becky Lynch. Asuka was not in this match. Naomi was in the match. And that's for SmackDown. For Raw, It was Ember Moon. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me start off again. For SmackDown, Charlotte, Becky, Naomi. It wasn't Asuka. Crap, who was it now? Was it Carmella? No, Carmella was champion. What am I thinking? Shoot, I can't remember. Wait, who was all? See, let me say in the live chat. Who was all in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match for SmackDown? I'm trying to remember. Let me see here. Hold on. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match 2018. Okay, I can just go to the link that Siri sent me. Well, Wikipedia. So who was the other member of SmackDown? I can't remember. Okay, come on. Let's see here. Lana, that's who it was. Yeah, she defeated her in a really weak-looking match against Billie Kay. But okay, it was Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Lana, and Naomi from SmackDown taking on Alexa Bliss, Ember Moon, Natalya, and Sasha Banks from Raw. And again, that match, it really felt like for the first time, the women didn't really play that so safe. They gave them the time. The bumps they took on the ladders looked like they went all out. I know Sasha Banks hit the got slammed into the ladder a couple times again. Becky Lynch took a couple ladders bumps to the head, I believe, also when they fell on her or whatnot. So again, not just the story being told, also with Becky Lynch, once again becoming so close to winning that briefcase when Alexa Bliss came in and pushed her off. But of course, that did start the storyline with Becky Lynch, winning matches and going on a winning streak and eventually, getting it back into the women's title picture for SummerSlam. I think, again, the physical and brutality and, the bumps and everything was what made this match really great. This is one of the first times, it didn't feel like the women were playing it safe at all whatsoever. So that is why it was it was for a while my women's match of the year, but it's moved down to my number 3 spot because numbers 1 and 2. Again, I had a really tough time picking which match I enjoyed more for the women. It was so tough because, the one match is a pay-per-view match. The other one isn't a pay-per-view match. But both of these were career moments for both of these superstars. And I base it pretty much off of, number 1 was a moment for a superstar that was just struggling to pretty much, get up. It's someone capitalizing on someone's momentum that they had gained. The other one was just, just showing that, okay, this person's even a bigger star than they were. So I think that's why I went with this one being number 2 and the only number 1. My number 2 for women's match of the year is Toni Storm versus Meiko Satomura, the Mae Young Classic semifinals. Now, Meiko Satomura was like a veteran, more so like a veteran in the Mae Young Classic. She probably had the most wrestling experience, probably one of the oldest wrestlers in the Mae Young Classic this year. And, there was a couple times, I think another match including Satomura, another honorable mention is her and Mercedes Martinez match also. But she's very known around the world, sounds like. I never really heard of her until the Mae Young Classic. But to me, I felt she played the role in this Mae Young Classic as the veteran, bringing out the best in every opponent that she faced. And I feel, her best performance for sure was with the match with Toni Storm. I didn't realize this, but I know there was a couple people who were pretty young in this tournament, but Toni Storm I thought was 27, 28. She's only 22 years old. Keep that in mind. Rhea Ripley's 22, Xia Brookside's 19, Millie McKenzie's only 18, but they have a lot of potential. But none of them stand out big time though than Toni Storm. I knew she was great. I loved her performance in the first Mae Young Classic. The second one though, this match I felt was what showed that Toni Storm, like, she can main event a WrestleMania. Like, this match made me want to see Toni Storm be like, Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion, main eventing WrestleMania, even like, a credible opponent also for when Rhea Ripley won the NXT UK Women's Championship recently, that debuting title. But this match I felt was the career moment for Toni Storm. It was a physical match. There was a lot of close near falls in this match. Like, you did not know who was going to win this match. Until, of course, Toni won, I thought Io Shirai was going to win this tournament. Like, right off the get-go, everybody's saying it was going to be Io Shirai. And there's rumors also that Tegan Nox was supposed to win it, but then she injured her other knee after she had injured her knee previous year. But, she's someone I wouldn't mind coming back, and maybe she can be the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley based off their history from the Mae Young Classic. But Toni Storm, though, damn. Again, she looked like a dominating badass in this match. I mean, again, so did Meiko Satomura. But she looked like, the experienced one taking up, like, the upcoming star who literally became a bigger star from this match in general. I think Toni kicked out of Meiko's finisher, and I think Meiko also kicked out of Toni's finisher as well. They kicked out of each other's finishers pretty much. But it was just so many close near falls. Just an unbelievable match. Like, one of those matches that I was literally on my toes, sitting off the edge of my seat. I had no clue who was going to win this match. I didn't read any spoilers or anything. And to me, it's the match that made Toni Storm a really big name now for around the world. I mean, she was great before, but she's even bigger now, setting the bar very high for her for sure. And this match is unreal. So props to both Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura for sure for really catching my eye with this match, as this match is my number 2. Obviously, though, gets my number 1 for women's match of the year. My number 1, no doubt about it, has got to be Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, last woman standing at Evolution for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The match that should have main evented this show. Ronda and Nikki was better than I thought, good for what it was, but there was no reason for that to be the main event of Evolution. No. Two of the women who were the true pioneers of the women's Evolution should have evented this show. Becky Lynch went into this match as the champion. Charlotte the challenger. We all know the story here. Becky Lynch is tired of living in Charlotte's shadow. Feel like Charlotte gets all these opportunities. Becky Lynch has had to work her ass off for 2 years just to get back to where she was. She wasn't going to be playing any more games, so she can keep her spot at the top of the mountain. And of course, Becky won the match in a pretty good match at Hell in a Cell. That's an honorable mention. Also, that match was pretty good. Their match at Super Showdown was kind of meh, I thought. I guess also because they kind of booked Becky more so like a coward. I mean, yes, there was 2 spots there. One when Becky tried to run away with the title one time, then another time where Becky's being a coward, like being scared. She's like, no, stop. But in the end, take those 2 things out. This match was Becky's career moment. Like, main roster, this was her career moment. This is what really said, hey, Becky Lynch is for sure here to stay. And of course, this momentum is not just like a one-time thing. It's not a fluke. Like, this is serious business here. And yes, she already dropped the title, but dropping to Asuka and the way she did was great, because now Becky can look like a big dominating force, and winning the Royal Rumble will be a big deal for her for sure. But this match was physical. It was brutal. Weapons were involved. There was a moment where Charlotte, I believe, had Becky Lynch in the figure 8 wrapped her legs around a ladder. And Becky Lynch was still able to, keep on fighting on, and still get back up from that. So many close moments where it looked like, one of these 2 could have won the match. Like, I thought once I think when Charlotte threw Becky through a couple of tables or something, I thought that was going to be it. Or there's going to be a double count out or whatnot. Based off, of course, when Becky did that spot when she jumped off the ladder like a knee, like the double knees into the chest of Charlotte for sure. And I believe, or was it Becky threw Charlotte through the tables that caused Charlotte to not quite be able to stand all the way back up through the 10 count for her to win the match. But it was brutal. It was a physical match. It had a lot of great spots. Again, going back to the ladder match, didn't play safe at all. Yes, one or two moments where Becky was booked as a coward, but she still was a dominating badass. And of course, she tried to win by burying Charlotte underneath all those chairs. Did not work. But again, she still won the match. That's the thing. Becky still won the match and kept her momentum, her fire red hot momentum going for sure. As she deserved this. This was Becky's career moment. Is this last woman standing match that once again should have been the main event of Evolution, but made my top list for the best women's match of 2018. Becky Lynch and Charlotte, last one standing SmackDown Live Women's Championship at Evolution. And that's the second of the 3 top 10 lists we're going to talk about tonight. So let's go over the list for the women's top 10 women's matches of 2018. Number 10 is Ronda. It was a mixed tag match, WrestleMania 34. Number 9 was Shayna and Kairi at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Number 8 was Sasha and Asuka on the Rumble on the Raw after the Royal Rumble. Number 7 is Shayna and Kairi 2 out of 3 falls. Number 6 is Ronda and Charlotte at Survivor Series. Number 5 is Becky, Charlotte, and Asuka in the TLC match. Number 4 is Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania 34. Number 3 was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Number 2 was Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura in the Mae Young Classic semifinals. Number 1, Becky and Charlotte SmackDown Live Women's Championship, last woman standing at Evolution. Again, the match that should have main event Evolution, but unfortunately it did not. But you know what? Still an awesome match. That's all I care about. So before we get to the top 10 worst matches of the year, let's check the live chat once again. See what we all have got to say. Let's see here. I think we're right here. A TLC match was the perfect way to end that pay-per-view for sure. TNT Park took a bathroom break. Worst, Mark has said also was Asuka and Carmella Money in the Bank. Best is the Women's Royal Rumble match. Women's Royal Rumble was all right, but I felt it could have been a little bit better. I guess more so also because they didn't have I guess I was also sour on it a little bit because I didn't like how it came down to Asuka and the Bella. So it was just way too obvious there. It was obvious Asuka was going to win, but it could have been booked in a way have it come down with Asuka and Sasha, or Asuka and Trish even, or something like that. Not Asuka and the Bella twins. I wasn't a fan of that. So the Women's Royal Rumble was all right, but could have been a little bit better, I felt. And the men's match was pretty good. TNT Bar made an ice cream sundae. I can go for that as well. I love to see somebody do what Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio did and win the Rumble number 1 or number 2, which would be great. Don't forget Chris Benoit. You can't mention his name anymore, but of course, yeah, he had a great Royal Rumble appearance. Chris Benoit, as they mentioned it as a meme. Mark also liked the Ziggler and Rollins match at SummerSlam, which was good for sure. I'm going to roll my apparently. Thank you, Tina Kupar. Mark said the worst also is Ronda and Alexa at SummerSlam. I wouldn't say that was bad, but I mean, I felt like, that just did what it needed to do. Did you honestly think, Alexa Bliss had any guts to face Ronda Rousey? I mean, I didn't. I personally, here's the thing. Their second match as a match was better, obviously, but I didn't like how the story going under was more so that apparently Alexa Bliss was more prepared for Ronda Rousey. One, she wasn't really booked that way at all. And 2, I still don't get it was, why was Alexa's friends not around at the SummerSlam match? Did I miss something saying that they were banned from ringside? And that didn't make any sense to me. But those I wouldn't say were awful, but I wouldn't say they were great either. They just did what they needed to do, I felt, in my opinion. They weren't overdone or anything, but they did what they needed to do. But all right, guys, let's turn the table around here. We have talked about for almost 2 hours the best matches from the men and women. Now, for this last list, this will be the top 10 worst matches of 2018. Again, this is just my opinion, honestly. It could be from any promotion as well. And believe it or not, there is actually one match from NXT on this list. It's probably one of the only times I will ever put a match from NXT on this list. And that I actually did not like. It happens, but I did not like this match. But I think it's my number 9, I think, on this list. But so yeah, it could be from different variety of angles. Not so much from results, but more. I'm not gonna pick like a match that the wrong person went over, so that's why it's the worst match. No, if it was still a good wrestling match, I'll give it. But of course, I know the finishes are important, but more so is the overall production is what I'm focusing on here with these bad matches. So let's of course get right into this, guys. As of course, it's almost 1:25. I'd like to still get to bed by a decent time. I don't have to be up at a certain time tomorrow, but I still like to get to bed at a decent time. But let's get to it, guys. Third list of the night. Let's get started. My top 10 worst matches of 2018. Starting off with number 10. Number 10. Any of the Lucha House Party Rules matches against the Revival. So when the Lucha House Party were announced that they were coming to Raw, obviously it might have been because they needed another credible tag team for Raw. And Lucha House Party, I thought, was doing a good job on 205 Live. And it also gave me hope that, oh, look at this. 205 Live stars are still going to be getting opportunities on other brands, not just 205 Live. Like, you can come out of 205 Live. Like, so that could have worked out for Neville, Austin Aries, if they would have stuck around. Obviously, they went off with their own thing, and I respect them for doing that. But it just hasn't been really good for Lucha House Party. And the problem is not that they're having constant matches and beating the Revival. But here's the question: who are the heels in this god awful feud? It's supposed to be the Revival, right? Then why is the Lucha House Party being booked to have like 3-on-2 or 3-on-1 matches with these whole Lucha House Party rules stipulation to it? Once again, it makes us, they're the ones getting the advantage. And also, this is during a time when, of course, when Corbin was general manager. So how is a heel general manager approved of something that a babyface tag team wants? They were just awful. There's just continuing to bury the Revival deeper and deeper down. And all of a sudden, you give the Revival, now they win a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match for the Raw tag titles. I mean, I'm glad they're getting title opportunities, but they don't feel as big of a deal anymore. Part of it was because, what happened at the Raw 25 segment, pretty much the repetition of what happened with the Ascension 2015, with, a bunch of old schoolers just beating down, a new, upcoming, strong tag team. And then, they felt like they were getting somewhere, but then, of course, they had just terrible booking throughout the summer. And then, of course, it led to them having these constant matches with the Lucha House Party. That's just maybe, honestly, hate the Lucha House Party. I mean, I like them on 205 Live, hate them on Raw. Again, we're supposed to like them, but why are they getting these 3-on-2 advantages in these tag team matches? Makes no sense. The sort of the Revival's trying to teach Lucha House Party how to do a tag match. It just, again, it makes no sense. Awful. No one's benefiting from them at all whatsoever, and just terrible. Dislike them for sure, and that's why they're my number. That all those matches are my number 10 for my worst matches of 2018. Number 9. Here we go, guys. Here is the only NXT match I can say I really did not like this year. My number 9, the Street Profits versus the Authors of Pain in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on the March 28th, 2018 edition of NXT. Shocker. I want to talk a little down here on NXT for a second. So, I talked recently also, after the release of Nick Miller, that TM61 I felt was kind of disappointing this year. The booking of them, again, they were hyped up coming back at the beginning of the year. And I thought, okay, maybe they will, be like winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, like, runners up, or maybe, they'll be feuding with, the Undisputed Era over the summer, and maybe they'll be the ones that dethrone Undisputed Era of the tag titles. Didn't happen because the Authors of Pain beat them in their first match of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this year. I'm like, wow, that sucks. Then they get all the way till the finals, Authors of Pain. But not without this match they had with the Street Profits. The Street Profits came in with a lot of momentum going into this year. And I realized this more than the past couple months, but stars in NXT or NXT UK, they do other shows too besides just WWE. Which is why recently I said that Fabian Eichner won a championship at Evolve. And Street Profits actually won the Evolve tag titles. So it kind of makes a little more sense of why they haven't been booked as seriously as of late. They came in, though, this year getting a #1 contenders match against the Authors of Pain for, a match with Undisputed Era NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. They didn't win it, but I still thought that was a good match. This match, though, I hated because I felt it made the Street Profits look silly. All this match just consisted of was the bell ringing and then the Street Profits having their cup that they have and whatnot, going down and just, I think Montez Ford was trying to pretty much, just chat up with Paul Ellering or something like that. Ellering just pushed the cup back into Ford's face or something like that. And then I can't remember. I think they can't remember if they just rolled up Dawkins or they just absolutely squashed Dawkins in a 2.5 minute match. And Authors of Pain advance. And I was just like, what? You couldn't have at least put on of a more solid tag match here, in my opinion. I mean, first off, again, I thought Authors of Pain got way too far. Should not have gone to the finals for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic again. It should have been either Street Profits or the Mighty or TM61 when it first came back, for sure. But again, I just was not a fan of this. I felt it just made the Street Profits look silly. It kind of slowed the momentum down afterwards. And, they're a fun group, but what was this? It just made them look silly, made them look weak. 2 months earlier, they're putting on a great match with AOP, a solid, good match for a possibility for the NXT tag team titles. And then they just flunder in this match. And it was just, wasn't a fan of it. It was garbage. And honestly, one of the very few times I could say NXT put on a match that I did not like. So that's why it's on my list. It's not the worst match I've seen, but had to pick it out there. For my number 9, Street Profits and Authors of Pain, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, March 28, 2018 edition of NXT. That is my number 9 for worst match of 2018. Number 8, Bobby Lashley versus Constable Baron Corbin on the August 20th, 2018 edition of Raw. WWE did a fresh attempt trying to give us a fresh match. We had not seen Bobby Lashley or Baron Corbin face off with each other since Bobby Lashley made his return to WWE the night after WrestleMania 34. So I thought, all right, something fresh. Let's see what happens. Well, keep in mind, this was, of course, Bobby Lashley all year has been booked very bad. Except for, of course, him firing the shots at Roman Reigns. He beat Roman Reigns, of course, in their first match at Extreme Rules, but then lost them the following week in a #1 contenders match. Because how much sense did that make? Made that win look absolutely pointless. Meant nothing, that win at Extreme Rules. So then a couple weeks later, I remember this match very vividly. It was Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin, Constable Baron Corbin. I just remember this being just a very sloppy, all over the place, no flow, no chemistry, just a very underwhelming match that just made both of them look like they didn't really understand their craft at all whatsoever. I think Lashley won the match. I'm pretty sure he won the match, but it was just awful. It's just, it was all over like around the ring, but it wasn't even like anything, brutal. It wasn't exciting. It was just boring, looked sloppy. It just looked like they didn't know what they were doing. And I just remember like thinking like, what the hell is this? It was just a cringeworthy match to watch for sure. And that's all I can really say about it. Just the fact that it was just a bad match. They had just no chemistry, just didn't work well together, and it just nobody benefited from it. So that's why I had to give that the rub also. And that's why it's my number 8 on this list for worst matches of the year. So yeah, that was the number 8. Number 7, The New Day versus The Bar and Big Show Thanksgiving Feast fight on the November 20th edition of SmackDown Live. You remember the other night, last night it was, I believe, where I was talking about my how I'm never really much of a fan of food fights in the WWE. B-Team Barbecue, never really a fan of those trick or treat street fights and whatnot, like these holiday themed gimmick matches that just don't really benefit anyone. I mean, one that I actually didn't think was too bad was the Miracle on 34th Street fight with Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt back in 2014. That wasn't a bad street fight. I actually did kind of like that one because it had people who could work with that. And as I always keep mentioning, another problem, again, that Vince McMahon has with his booking is the fact that he always tries to bring out more of a comedy aspect with so many talents, and not everyone is meant for comedy. Again, New Day is, but The Bar, not so much. This Thanksgiving Feast fight was just messy. It was pointless. It had just, tables. Well, first off, before the match, Big E was awkwardly licking, that turkey breast, obviously trying to make, the breast jokes and whatnot, because this man's back is like, ha ha ha, he said breast, he's licking a breast, ha 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 ha, but, just, toilet humor, but not, of course, as bad as the piss jokes. What did I say? I'm sorry, I did not say that at all. But all that really happened was everybody just got, like, all members of the bar just got pushed into the tables full of different foods, and it's just messy. And once again, why is freaking Cesaro having to suffer through this? I swear, he's always in this, he's always in the trick or treat street fight, he's always in just some other weird, gimmick street fight match that just never does anything for anyone. They're not funny. It just doesn't fit everyone. New Day, sure. I don't know of another heel tag team that could maybe fit with, like, these gimmick matches, but just doesn't fit them. It just makes them look silly. It's just a freaking waste of time. And food fights are just literally going to do absolutely nothing for anyone. It just look childish and just pisses me off. So that's why I had to include this one on my list at my number 7. The Thanksgiving Feast fight SmackDown Live recently. That's my number 7. Number 6, Elias versus Bobby Lashley in a ladder match for guitar, TLC 2018 pre-show. I did not even bother to watch this match. For TLC, the only 2 matches I did not watch, believe it or not, I watched the one pre-show match, the Cruiserweight title match, which should have been on the main show. But I did not watch the Mixed Match Challenge Finals. I also did not watch this match, Bobby Lashley and Elias in a ladder match, because I just did not care. I didn't care about this feud. Yes, it gave Elias something to do with him being a babyface. We've seen them fight how many times with the roles reversed and whatever you want to say. We've seen this match happen, and it's done nothing for nobody. Again, Elias, is awesome on the microphone, but obviously his wrestling ability does need to improve where he becomes a bigger star. The face turn was a start, but a feud with Elias was not, with Bobby Lashley was not the route to go. So then they make this match for TLC. And at first I thought it was just a normal one-on-one match, whatever. But then they make it a ladder match with a guitar hanging from up top. Pretty much, guitar on a pole with a ladder. And I thought at first, the goal was to grab the guitar and you can use it as a weapon, but you still had the pin for the victory. No. The goal of this match was just to get the guitar. They were never fighting over the guitar. Heck, I don't know what the heck Elias and Bobby Lashley were even fighting over. But apparently you won the match by grabbing the guitar. And then after the match, Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush caused do a beatdown on Elias, and then Bobby Lashley hits Elias with the guitar. So who benefited from this? Nobody. 50-50 booking. And the thing also that this was a pre-show ladder match. This could have gone to, this ladder should have gone to, the WWE title, the IC title, the SmackDown Tag title match, even the Cruiserweight Championship match, that being the rubber match with Murphy and Alexander, could have been a ladder match. But instead, you wasted it on Elias and Bobby freaking Lashley for a guitar. To claim a guitar. I don't know what was more stupid, this or Jordan and Elias in 2017 with the guitar on the pole. I don't know what was more stupid. But this was just stupid. Again, it benefited nobody. Elias claimed the guitar, he won the match. But Bobby Lashley beat him down with the guitar. Just exactly what happened again in 2015 in the Kiss Me Arse match. Dolph Ziggler won the match, but Sheamus still, made Ziggler kiss his ass. Just stupid. Stupid. Waste of time, didn't benefit anyone, and just wasted a stipulation for what could have helped another match on this list for sure. But it's just Vince's terrible booking on Raw. So yeah, that's my number 6 for worst match of the year. Elias and Bobby Lashley ladder match for a guitar at TLC. Just stupid. But of course, that's the first half of that list, and so far we have for this list number 10. All Lucha House Party Rules matches. Number 9 was the Street Profits and Office of Pain in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic at the March 28th edition of NXT. Number 8 is Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin on the August 20th edition of Raw. Number 7 is the Thanksgiving Feast fight between the New Day and the Bar and Big Show. Number 6 is Elias and Bobby Lashley in the ladder for a guitar match at TLC on the pre-show, of course, as well. Live chat, let's check this again and see who we've got here. Who do we got? Looks like Elite Squad has joined us. What's going on, Elite Squad? Let me see here. Let me see. I think we were right here. Feel bad for Revival for sure. Another match. Oh, this is a good honorable mention. The Owens and Strowman SummerSlam match. Basically a squash, and again, wasted time. All that build for nothing. AOP in the bar was good. Was awful. It was awful also. AOP, Rude and Gable. Yeah, those were never been good as well. Rollins Nakamura was good, though, at Survivor Series. Roman and Balor was good as well. WWE Creative Team is the worst for sure. The Halloween Street Fight was much more entertaining because the New Day came out as the Brood, which that is true. Yeah, that made it entertaining, but still never a big fan of that. Holiday shows in general are terrible because 1, nobody watched them, and 2, once again, Vince tries to bring out comedy in them, and they're not funny. They're just all childish and whatnot. What's up, Elite Squad? Good, glad you can join us. Bobby Roode and Drake Maverick, that's another great honorable mention as well for worst. Cesaro is a shitty promo, so they have him pair with Sheamus to counter that. Yeah, that, and also the fact that apparently, again, Sheamus has been wrestling with spinal stenosis. So, man, it's disappointing. Cesaro's probably never going to get that big singles push that he definitely deserves in the main event, of course. But who knows? For me, the worst match of 2018 was Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel. That's definitely a good pick. It's not my worst, but it still is to come on this list. Elite Squad. Bayley and Sasha's matches suck now for sure because now they feel pointless. Elite Squad gave Lashley and Elias 2-star rating for sure. It sucked. So did Dave Meltzer. WWE could call up Ono from NXT and reunite with Cesaro, and then the Bar could be a 3-man team, which would have been better for that way instead of Big Show. Again, it was just why Big Show, but it's already over with. So again, it was just a complete waste. And they probably only did that just to set up for Big Show to make Drake Maverick piss his pants, but whatever. Who knows? Another worst, which actually I'm surprised none of these made my list, but all of the Roman and Brock matches were definitely awful. Lashley and Elias has a few good. Lashley and Leo Rush cost Elias the opportunity to go to Survivor Series. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. But I guess in some ways it was a story. Roman and Brock was much worse because they tried to build sympathy for Roman. And on top of that, they stretched it out from an Elimination Chamber to SummerSlam, which was terrible booking. Which, once again, they should just given Roman the title of WrestleMania and just moved on. Not just drag this all out. But that made no sense booking with Roman and Jinder and all. Again, Roman Reigns claims management. Again, what still just cracks me up is the moment after the WrestleMania when Brock Lesnar re-signed and it was announced that Roman and Brock would have that steel cage match at Greatest Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns came out on Raw and flat out said, "I don't know why I'm getting this match." But a few weeks later, oh, management's holding me back. Jinder Mahal is saying that Roman gets many opportunities. As I said in my worst storyline stuff the other week, I said it was like when John Cena was mocking CM Punk and Vince McMahon go, "I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that." That's pretty much exactly what it was with Roman and Jinder and that god-awful feud, dear Lord. Yeah, that's not mentioned as well because that match went 15 minutes. They gave Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal 15 minutes on a pay-per-view. Thank God that did not mean him at the show. Thank God that was more treated as a cool-down match. But goodness, that was terrible booking. Don't forget, Strowman had to come out before Reigns versus Brock's match so that people wouldn't leave. That is true. That's why they did that. I hate they did that also at SummerSlam. Yeah, it turned Sasha or Bayley heel already, but they're not going to do it now. They're not. It was just, I don't care about that feud anymore, and it's sad. But let's, of course, get now to the top 5 worst matches of 2018. Here we go, guys. Let's see what I thought were the worst of the worst. Let's get to it. Number 5, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship at TLC. Of all the matches, TLC had a very stacked card. But of all the matches that disappointed me, this right here is probably was one of the biggest letdowns for sure of 2018. And a simple reason why. This feud was not meant for just a normal one-on-one wrestling match. Not just for, just a grapple fest. No. These are two guys that have a history already from 2014, even in 2015 when they feuded in the summer for the WWE title. Remember they had matches at Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank? That was a ladder match, yes, but this could have used a ladder match. Or, as I mentioned too, again, they didn't have to, it could have been TLC. Well, again, I get the fact that, this is the first match of the renewed feud. I get it. But they could have had some type of stipulation that was could be topped off, in the next match. Because obviously this feud should not be over, even though apparently there's no more title rematches, but Dean and Seth are not done. They are nowhere close to being done for sure. Again, as I feel, if Seth Rollins is not facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, this feud needs to go to WrestleMania and culminate with a 3 Stages of Hell match at WrestleMania. If not, then they'll culminate at Fastlane because we have to have 2 pay-per-views on between Rumble and Mania, which is absolutely stupid. But this match could have even been an unsanctioned match, for crying out loud. You wanted to see a bloodbath brawl, a big-time fight between these two with weapons and just, bunch of physicality. Honestly, to me, this could have been even higher up on this list if it wasn't for the last 5 minutes, where Dean Ambrose showed some life for this match with the mind games. And it felt like they're trying to make Dean Ambrose another Tommaso Ciampa. But this heel turn has been, shown it has potential. But obviously, they're trying to drag out this feud. They're just making this heel turn, like, slowly showing more and more each week. But still, it's just starting to feel a little, it's moving at a snail's pace. So the part I enjoyed of this match, of course, when Dean Ambrose tried to do the Shield fist bump and Seth Rollins kind of, just like snapped. And basically, that was this whole story I felt they needed to do with Seth Rollins, losing control as he did. But to get there, this match got a "this is boring" chant. And I'm sorry, but it was. Two guys that have absolutely incredible chemistry together just put on, in my opinion, one of the worst matches of 2018. And again, it was all because it didn't have a stipulation. Could have been, a no disqualification, no holds barred, ladder match, maybe TLC, but again, or unsanctioned. Something else besides just a regular one-on-one match. That does not scream Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins one-on-one. Dear Lord, it does not. But that is why it is on my list at my number 5. Just a terrible match, disappointing. Again, it would have been close to number 1 if it wasn't for that last 5 minutes. But other than that, this match is awful. And to me, probably the worst match we got at TLC this year. I'll even go that far as saying that. That's why it's my number 5 on my list for worst matches of 2018. Number 4, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WWE Crown Jewel. I am still glad that I did not even bother to turn on this horrible event. Just the fact that, they still went through and did it at, I'm sorry, but, with with all the bad stuff happening in Saudi Arabia right now, it was not safe for the WWE to go out there at that time because of the issues going on out there, whatnot, just wasn't safe. But they still went there. That's what pissed me off. This whole show in general pissed me off because it was just pointless and it was just a money snatcher. Proving that once again that WWE is nothing but, of course, having high egos and nothing but money whores. But what pissed me off the most about this show is this match. When Roman Reigns got diagnosed with leukemia, they had big opportunities to finally capitalize and give the superstars that deserve what they needed, what needed to be. And one of them was to finally make Braun Strowman Universal Champion and finally capitalize on the big moment and stop booking him as that guy who just dominates everything else. But the moment he gets to the biggest spotlight, they don't capitalize with him. Such as, of course, him eliminating everyone in the chamber except for Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns beats him very easily. So this was the biggest opportunity. And what happens? Baron Corbin comes out. And for some god-awful reason, I don't know why, he attacks Braun Strowman with the title before the match starts. And Brock Lesnar squashes Braun Strowman in 3 minutes. If Baron Corbin, first off, if you would care about making this show good, why would you want to help Brock freaking Lesnar win the championship? And 2, if you want to be Universal Champion, then why are you letting Brock Lesnar, a part-timer who, keep in mind, someone mentioned this on, I think it was Bowl of Eyes, put this on Twitter earlier today, that Asuka's only been champion for 6 days, and she's already defended that title more than Brock Lesnar's defended his title the second time around. All that work of Roman Reigns saving us from having the Universal title being very irrelevant, slapped in the face by putting it back on Brock Lesnar. Braun is at the point now where, his momentum's going down. It's dropped big time because of the same cycles happening. The heel turn for him was terrible to begin with. That's why Braun needs to beat Brock at Royal Rumble. And I still say he should go to WrestleMania and drop the title to Drew McIntyre. If Brock, of course, retains, it's going to hurt Braun Strowman. But, if Brock retains, Seth better beat him at WrestleMania. No excuses. Just absolutely no excuses as to, why this happened. Why did Baron Corbin want to see Brock Lesnar carry that Universal title again? Doesn't he want to eventually be Universal Champion? If Baron Corbin can be a coward against so many people, how do you think he's going to try to fare if he tries to go up against Brock Lesnar? How on earth does he think, he can, weasel his way into gaining the Universal Championship if, Brock Lesnar doesn't show up? No sense at all. Just awful, and just continuing to just, put Braun Strowman down further and further into the ground. And that's why it is my number 4 for worst matches of 2018. Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar Universal Championship match at Crown Jewel. Number 3, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe, WWE Backlash 2018. Man. Oh gosh. This was awful. This was just bad. What the hell happened with this one? So, I put over a match earlier, the IC title match with Roman and Joe at on the first Raw of the new year, January 1st this year. That was a great IC title match, and putting over how great of chemistry these two have when it comes to their matches. And giving them a pay-per-view match, I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with this. Even though, Roman Reigns, didn't win the title at all at WrestleMania or Greatest Royal Rumble, capitalizing, just pretty much, get that Universal title back on a full-time wrestler instead of just really messing up that feud with Brock. So then Joe was pretty much ready to make a statement on Roman Reigns at Backlash. And going into this, I thought first, before Joe got moved to SmackDown, I felt either way, Roman's probably going to win this match. But then when Joe got moved to SmackDown, I'm like, interesting. If Roman does not have the title, there's no need for him to win this match. There's absolutely no need for him to win it at all. Joe could use the win, give him a lot of momentum heading into SmackDown so that way he can be in the WWE Championship picture. Well, first off, again, Backlash sucked. Other than The Miz and Rollins, this whole pay-per-view just absolutely, positively sucked. It was my second worst pay-per-view of the year. The worst is still Crown Jewel to me. So the match doesn't even start yet. Samoa Joe came out. And keep in mind, this pay-per-view is already going over the 3-hour mark. This is before, pay-per-views start at 7 o'clock and they're all 4 hours now. WrestleMania is 5 hours. Dear Lord, help me with that. This pay-per-view is already dragged on, and it's getting past 11 o'clock. People are walking out on this match. Of course, Vince is like, oh, well, people have to go to school tomorrow, so that's why they're leaving early. Bullshit. You're trying to cover up and make yourself look good all the time, Vince. But before the match starts, Samoa Joe came out and just beat the ever-living piss out of Roman Reigns, putting him through a table and whatnot. And then when the match finally begins, Samoa Joe does rest holds on Roman throughout the entire match. Rest holds. It was boring. It was long. It's just, you were going out there trying to kill him, and now you're just taking it easy on him with rest holds. And then Roman wins the match. And then goes on to feud with Jinder Mahal. How do you go from beating Samoa Joe to having a feud with Jinder freaking Mahal? A huge missed opportunity to give Samoa Joe momentum going forward. Yes, he still had a great feud with AJ Styles, but he could have won that match to give even more momentum going into SmackDown. What was the point? And the thing is, too, is this was the main event. This main event over the WWE Championship that has not main evented a pay-per-view since Fastlane. That was the only pay-per-view this year the WWE title main evented the show. Even though I hated the finish to that match at Backlash, that could have main evented over this god-awful match that you have someone come out there and literally just handing him back the match. Samoa Joe dominated Roman Reigns and should have just beaten him. Instead, he beats the hell out of him before the match starts and just does rest holds the rest of the match just for Roman to easily come back and beat him. People left early, walked out during this main event, and that still didn't give Vince the care. Oh, they got to get up early, go to school tomorrow. Shut up. Terrible match. Absolutely disappointing. Two guys who had put on some solid matches on Raw over the previous year and puts on this god-awful pay-per-view match because of rest holds. Dear Lord, give me a break. But of course, that is why that is my number 3 for worst match of 2018. Let's move on now, of course, to number 2. Number 2, Braun Strowman and Nicholas Cone versus The Bar for the Raw Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 34. What the hell was this? What the hell was the point of this match? So, The Bar go into WrestleMania, pretty much having beat everyone in the tag team division. Maybe this is going to be Authors of Pain's time to come up and make a big statement against them, which probably would not have happened. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have been Sanity. I don't know. But Braun Strowman comes out during the Number One Contenders Battle Royale and just throws all these tag teams out like they're nothing. And then he's being told that he has to have a tag team partner for his match at WrestleMania. We're all wondering who this could be. Could have been Big Cass making his return. Could have been Bray Wyatt. Could have been Bobby Lashley or Cassius Ohno. Or I don't know, someone else. This is a legitimate wrestler. So we still have no clue who Strowman's tag team partner is going to be, which once again, they had him coming out being brained Strowman, just making a complete joke about it. So Strowman came out at WrestleMania after The Bar came out, saying that one of us is going to be his tag team partner. And I'm like, huh? He goes out into the crowd and grabs referee John Cone's son, Nicholas, to be his tag team partner. Nicholas has gone to the ring and tagged himself out of the match, and Braun just squashed The Bar. And then the next night on Raw, what happens? They relinquish the tag titles. What was the point of this? It was just a consolation prize for Braun Strowman, and just the beginning of, the revealing that the Raw Tag Team division is just absolute garbage. There is no depth at all in this division at all. Authors of Pain couldn't save it. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable can't save it. The Revival suck. The B Team is back in catering. The Lucha House Party is being booked terribly. I don't know. Heath Slater and Rhino, are no longer a thing anymore. It's just an awful exposure of this, pretty much like what Vince really felt this tag team, and just to continue to see the downfall of Braun Strowman as well. I just do not get why this had to happen. What was the point of this? What did this do besides just expose how bad the Raw Tag Team division is, and just to give Braun Strowman a consolation prize at WrestleMania? Just awful. Just not funny. Just terrible booking. And I'm sorry a 10-year-old kid has to be put down for this, but again, it's just, I don't care. I did not care. It was a letdown. And this is where I kind of really stuck. Because up until this point, for the most part, I was enjoying WrestleMania 34. But this in the main event, woo, brought that all down. So thank you, Vince. Thank you for making your Raw Tag Team division look awful and for starting the downfall of one of your biggest stars that got over on his own. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say stars got over on his own? I'm sorry. Vince is supposed to put the stars over, not us. We're shit to him. We don't matter whatsoever. So yeah, definitely worthy of being one of the worst matches of 2018. But it's not the worst one, in my opinion. Let's get to that right now. And my number one worst match of 2018 is Carmella versus Asuka SmackDown Live Women's Championship match at Extreme Rules 2018 with James Ellsworth locked in a shark cage. I unfortunately paid money to see this match live. I keep saying, yeah, Extreme Rules was a so-so pay-per-view, but I felt like I got my money's worth out of it for the most part. I didn't feel like I completely wasted my money on this show going to it live. But as I mentioned earlier, I keep mentioning this how many times. I was fine with Asuka losing at WrestleMania 34. Gives me the opportunity to explore her character more than besides just, winning. She then immediately gets thrown back into the SmackDown Women's title picture without doing anything. And it was just not the right time. It was too soon. Again, this should have been Carmella and Naomi feuding until Carmella dropped the title at SummerSlam. Naomi won the Women's WrestleMania Battle Royale and got nothing out of it besides just this awful-looking trophy. So they give it to Asuka. And they bring back James Ellsworth, who, was a good act his first time around. But they basically brought him back just to have an excuse for Carmella to lose, to beat Asuka, but for Asuka to not lose clean, basically, pretty much, if you want to put it that way. And they had the first match when Ellsworth returned, which was what it was. But then they have this match. James Ellsworth picked the lock of the shark cage. And he got his, his pants leg or something stuck in it. And he was dangling from the shark cage. And Asuka pretty much spends a couple minutes just kicking the crap out of Ellsworth like he was a piñata. But on top of that all, forgetting that, Carmella is pretty much right behind her this whole entire time. And Carmella does literally the only move she knew how to do as champion and super kicks Asuka for the win. And then afterwards, Carmella takes out her anger by just choking out Ellsworth. This whole match was just about Carmella, and this whole feud was just about, not Carmella, this whole thing was just about Asuka beating the crap out of James Ellsworth. It was not funny. And it just brought down Asuka so low after you had her being one of the most dominating champions in NXT history. This is the same woman who retired undefeated from NXT and relinquished the NXT Women's Championship to cement her legacy. And yes, she had to lose at some point. It's no secret. The fact you book her as a stupid comedy act after she loses in her feud with Asuka, with her brief alliance with Naomi. It's just, how on earth did they still manage to pull her out with a title victory at the end of 2018? And this is the match right here that just made Asuka the lowest of low in her career. Looking like an idiot, just being silly, looking stupid, acting like she completely forgot that Carmella even existed, just spending most of the match just kicking the crap out of James Ellsworth, hanging from a stupid shark cage. The only two matches that I'll give credit that weren't bad with the Shark Cage was the Authors of Pain and TM61 at the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic Finals at TakeOver Toronto in 2016. It was 2016, right? Yeah, 2016. And the match with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble with Chris Jericho in the Shark Cage. Other than that, Big Show and Big Cass, Enzo in the Shark Cage. This match with the Shark Cage, I haven't seen any Shark Cages matches since, but still, they're still god freaking awful. But all this was Asuka just beating the crap out of James Ellsworth. Asuka beating the crap out of a man. It wasn't funny. It made her look stupid. You know, last year, again, in 2017, it was Bayley who got booked horribly in a match at Extreme Rules. This year, it was Asuka. So 2 years in a row, WWE completely killed momentum from two of the biggest female stars to ever step foot in the ring. Asuka somehow got a championship after this. I don't know how it happened, but it was just awful. Just an awful match, wasted time, benefited nobody, and it just made Asuka look worse and didn't even make Carmella look like a strong champion at all whatsoever. I'm sorry. But the only move she knew how to do that whole time was a super kick. That's all she was able to do. And the thing was, too, you know, Carmella, even like at the SummerSlam match, Carmella has had matches shows she can wrestle. She's not the best wrestler, but she can wrestle when she's booked much better than that. Just an awful match. Again, made Asuka look so stupid. Like, who wanted to pay to see Asuka just kick the crap out of James Ellsworth for how many minutes? I'm just laughing now because it sounds so stupid. But just a waste of time just to bring Ellsworth back. Again, it was just bad timing. The wrong time to put Asuka back in the women's title picture. And because of that, we got, in my opinion, the worst match of 2018. But guys, that's it. Almost a 3-hour stream here. Probably about 2.5 hours are going to end up here. Before I check the live chat, I will read all three of my lists one more time, just in case if you guys missed any of it. So for my top 10 men's matches of 2018, we had Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins IC title match on the June 25th episode of Raw. Number 9 was Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe IC title match on the January 1st episode of Raw. Number 8 is Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain's NXT tag title match on the July 11th episode of NXT. Number 7 is Rollins and Miz IC title of Backlash. 6 is Black and Gargano at War Games. 5 is Ali and Murphy no DQ on the July 3rd episode of 205 Live. 4 is Almas and Gargano at TakeOver Philly. Number 3 is the 6-man ladder match for the North American Championship at TakeOver New Orleans. Number 2 is Ciampa and Dream at War Games. And number 1 is Gargano and Ciampa in the Street Fight, which is my match of the year. For the women's matches of the year, number 10 is the mixed tag match at WrestleMania 34. Number 9 is Baszler and Sane at TakeOver Brooklyn. Number 8 is Sasha and Asuka on the Raw after the Rumble. Number 7 is Shayna and Kairi 2 out of 3 Falls at TakeOver War Games. Number 6 is Ronda and Charlotte Survivor Series. Number 5 was the TLC Women's Triple Threat match between Becky, Charlotte, and Asuka. Number 4 was Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania 34. Number 3 was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Number 2 was Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura in the Mae Young Classic semifinals. And number 1 was Becky and Charlotte, last woman standing at Evolution. For the worst matches of the year, number 10 was all the Lucha House Party Rules matches. Number 9 was the Street Profits and Office of Pain in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on the March 28th edition of NXT. Number 8 was Lashley and Corbin on Raw August 20th. Number 7 was the Thanksgiving Feast fight with the New Day in the Bar and Big Show. Number 6 was Elias and Bobby Lashley, following by number 5, being Rollins and Ambrose IC title at TLC. Number 4 was Strowman and Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Roman and Joe at Backlash. Strowman, Nicholas in the Bar at WrestleMania. And number 1, Carmella and Asuka in the Shark Cage match at at WrestleMania. Dear Lord, that happened at WrestleMania. That'd be awful. But at Extreme Rules, guys, it's a fun stream. I'm glad I did it at night where I didn't have to worry about how loud it was since my sister's out somewhere else for the night. Of course, she goes home next Saturday, but still be sad seeing my sister go back home. But I was able to do that, and I was able to give myself more time to definitely talk. And I was energized for the stream. And again, we had a lot to talk about. Of course, before I check the live chat again, the 4 streams left for this year, which this is going to be it for until probably after the holidays for live streams. Besides, of course, my reviews, which I'll try to catch the highlights for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, because I won't be watching them live. That's for a fact. Because I'm doing stuff with my family both those days. We're still doing the top 10 male and female superstars. I'll do that all in one stream. My top 10 favorite and least favorite moments from 2018 WWE. My bold predictions for 2019, and of course the end of the year Q&A / 1,000 subscribers Q&A / channel recap of the year, pretty much, and final thoughts before 2019 comes. So that'll probably be on New Year's Day. But either tomorrow or before I go out for Christmas Eve, I will get my forum for that Q&A video, I'll explain the rules and whatnot, and just everybody leaving their comments in the comments section, of course, or on Twitter also for your questions. I can prepare myself for some of those and even ask me more in the live chat as well for that Q&A. But that will be my fun end of the year video. And of course, I just finished Hitler at the Ninth Gate tonight. I will upload that video after the stream. And I will do my Wolfenstein 3D Christmas special with that format mod. Probably maybe I'll do one level tonight and then maybe try to finish it tomorrow and Monday. But this is going to be a quick little mod there. And of course, the rest of my video, let's stay tuned for that to come as also. But let's check the live chat one more time before we check out here. Let me see here. Elite Squad though did enjoy the Ambrose and Rollins match at TLC, which if you did, that's cool, but it could have been better. Again, only problem was it needed stipulation. I felt they just repeated the Seth Rollins heel turn and Dean Ambrose Mark feels. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I was glad it just happened just on Rollins, but once again, it didn't want to look like, okay, Dean Ambrose, imploding the Shield, because once again, how many times we want to see the Shield get back together just for them to just implode again? You know what I mean? But could be the case there. You got a good point there, Mark. Jay enjoyed Rollins and Ambrose. Not everything has to be flips off the top rope and counters all over the place. The story was basically Ambrose trying to beat Rollins down bit by bit, and he liked it. True, but again, it was. I understand if you liked it, cool. But again, my problem was I want to see this more of just like a fight, like literally to them trying to like kill each other. Like they weren't trying to kill each other in the match. That's why I didn't like the match. But again, I know that we have more from coming down the line. But again, they could have had a stipulation. Like again, this shouldn't have been a wrestling match. It just needed to be a fight. It didn't have to be like high flying. Just just basically just a big brawl I wanted to see out of it. But once again, that's your opinions, guys, and I respect them for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, once again, the biggest problem was it didn't have a stipulation. If they weren't going to give Rollins and Ambrose stipulation, they should have opened TLC, which, okay, they could have definitely. Not the mixed match challenge. Elite Squad thought many matches at Backlash were terrible except for Styles Nakamura, which is good except for the finish. Hardy and Orton, which was okay. That match kind of felt average. Of course, we got much better match later on down the line when Orton turned heel. But Miz and Rollins definitely matched, and I agree. Youngest champion ever. I don't think that record will ever be broken. I wanted Lashley to be Strowman's partner for sure. Yeah, with the stupid Nicholas crap. No Way Jose was even in the crowd for WrestleMania 34. That is true. We saw him there. They chose Nicholas of everyone. Tables and ladders are immense. Look very cool. Crown jewels suck. Yeah. Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar was the worst match 2018 for Elite Squad, which I agree definitely would be one of the worst ones. Which one was worse in the shark cage, Ellsworth or Enzo? Oh gosh, that's actually a very tough one. I have no clue. Pretty much, they were both pretty bad. Elite Squad says Enzo. This live stream is better than Raw. Thank you for sure. Yeah, everyone's pretty much sounding like they're taking care of everyone. Yeah, thank you guys again for joining me live. Again, I'm always glad to entertain you guys as well. Let's see here. 2018 match of the year. He thought Elite Squad thought it was Miz and Seth. The Gauntlet match. That's a good choice also, but that was definitely awesome. It was good for the first half when Rollins was on a roll, but then the rest felt rushed. Jay said, kind of at a point, true, but who was going to beat Strowman? 2018 match of the year, Gargano and Ciampa TakeOver Brooklyn 4, or Velveteen Dream versus Ciampa TakeOver War Games 2, which again we're both good. We're both definitely good matches. Again, my still match of the year. I mean, I still personally, of all the Gargano and Ciampa matches, enjoyed the Chicago Street Fight most. Again, Last Man Standing was good. I just felt we just didn't get anything really new from the street out since the Street Fight match went up, but that was still a good match. And of course, the Unsanctioned match was great as well. But yeah, guys. But I think I'm gonna call it a night here now, guys. Again, thank you again for joining me for this long, but definitely entertaining and worthwhile stream to talk about. Surprised I never got tired during the stream, but I'm still live and awake. It's 2:20 in the morning here, but I'll get Hitler the Ninth Gate uploaded, and probably just maybe try to record. Well, first I gotta take a shower, but maybe do the first of the Wolf 3D Christmas special Let's Play as well. Start tonight maybe, and then maybe do a chunk of it tomorrow before I go out with my family, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah, guys, thank you again to Robbie, Elite Squad, TN Couponer, Jay, Mark, anyone else who joined me in this live chat, guys. Thank you guys as always for your support and everything with this channel. Again, it's definitely been a crazy but fun year on this channel. I've done a lot on this channel. I can't wait to, of course, recap it all and just end the year on a bright note with you guys on New Year's Eve. Again, the open forum will be posted tomorrow or Monday before I go out with my family for the end of the year Q&A, and then it will most likely take place on New Year's Eve. I gotta say that Q&A will take place. But yeah, guys, once again, leave thoughts on the comment section below of your favorite matches or least favorite matches of the year. Just click my like and subscribe or comment on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, DemandAirBonnie3. And guys, also, since this will most likely be my last live stream, till then, I just want to wish all of you, of course, Merry Christmas. Of course, I have a couple friends also who are Jewish. I'm not Jewish, I'm Catholic, but if you're Jewish and you celebrate Hanukkah, happy late Hanukkah to you as well. Or whatever, or if you're Orthodox and you're not celebrating Christmas yet, till next month, Merry Christmas, early Christmas as well. But just enjoy your holiday, guys. Spend time with family. Just cherish those moments, especially also because family time is very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to a lot of you guys in the live chat as well. So, guys, once again, take care. Most likely any videos uploaded will be, the open forum for the Q&A and any of my video game Let's Plays over the next couple of days until after the holidays. Well, of course, then also we have my live reviews will be live streamed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which I'll just go over the highlights. But once again, probably the last serious live stream until after the holidays. So, guys, thank you again. I'm checking out. Have a great rest of your night. Take a good night's sleep, everybody, and peace out, everybody.